Okay, guys, so welcome to, there's a popular term. I don't really like this term, but one of my favorite people, Gary Vee, his book is called Crushing It. So people always say, you know, I never understand what it means when someone says, I'm really crushing it out there. My friend who works in Crushing It Bill USA makes $300,000 as an associate. Where is that? So we're going to talk about, in a nacho terms, crunching your dentisting job interview. So we have you guys sitting here as bads. Raise your hand if you don't know what a bad is. If you don't know what a bad is, you're a bad. Actually, we have two bads in training. So all you guys know? That's good. You're gonna feel it. So bad is a baby-age dentist. We had perio classifications. We'll have our signs out soon. Baby-age dentist, 0 to 2 years out of school. Bads in training. Are you guys your fourth-year dental students? Okay, so you're about to be bads. Then toddler-age dentist, Louis Chen came up with that one. 2 to 5 years out of school. Child-age dentist, CAD, 5 to 10. One of the longer categories that I'm in, 10 to 25 years out of school. Medium-age dentist is a MAD. 25 to 40 years out of school. Seasoned age dentist is a SAD. 40 plus years out of school, I'm 42, so there's dentists that have been practicing longer than I've been alive. They're a GAD, a golden age dentist. And all of us are thinking about that time, the best category of all, a RAD, a retired age dentist. So how do we go along this dentistry circle of life? You got our signs here, we get some pictures of that later. So you guys are on the on-ramp into the real world of private practice dentistry. And why we're here is because we need more training, or some training, about what to do to get from a residency program or school into this real world. I believe that happened to me as well. Go to high school, whatever. All right, better? Is that better, Jenna? All right, cool. Go to high school, apply to college, get into college, usually one of the smarter people. Go to college, apply to dental school, get in, one of the smarter people. Go to college, dental school to residency program, get in. This is when it starts to change a little, right? You know, you notice maybe some of the smartest people didn't get into the residency programs that they wanted to, because for the first time, people are not really just judging you based on your GPA or your test scores or your extra. They're judging you like, do I want to spend time with this person? So when a program director sits and interviews someone, they're thinking, do I want to see this person every day for a year? And you're thinking the same thing during the job interview process as an owner. Maybe someone has a great resume and seems like they would be, you know, a super great clinical dentist, but they just are, maybe they're too high strung. Maybe they just don't seem like they communicate well. So for the first time, people are judging you on things that have nothing to do with your GPA and test scores. And that's super uncomfortable because very few of you have ever practiced this. The only people that have practiced this are the people. Did anyone not go from college to dental school here? Took a break in between. Javier, what did you do? Waiter. That's good training. David, what did you do? Research, that's not good training. Okay, so waiter's good training because you work with people. You work with people, and people judge you on your personality, how you talk to them, and that is really everything. When I set up the new dentist boost camp, we're doing our 5th one next week, and this is a framework for the day today, this is you, the bad DDS or DMD, and the skills that you need are mind skills, word skills, and hand skills. What I call your dentist core. Because this is what you need to survive and thrive. But interestingly, in dental school, do they talk with you a lot about how to talk to patients? Do they talk with that? No?
Only a little bit.
4 full years. You think I could cram it in between the Krebs cycle and mediocre bite rims? They could cram it in, they can't. Do they ever talk with you about how to make decisions? Okay, some of it's not just your words, some of it's your brain, right? We'll talk about that today. You work for me Dr. Nacho's House of Dentisting. Marissa, your patient's 15 minutes is going to be 15 minutes late. The front desk comes back and says, your patient's going to be 15 minutes late for their class 2. Do you want to see this patient? What is your answer?
Yes.
But what if your next patient is for 3 implant crowns, and now you're late on your next patient because you saw your occlusal composite?
Maybe my 15-minute late patient now has to wait for me to be available to see them after I take care of the person who is on time, and then they'll learn not to be late because they had to wait for me.
That would be, I wish people operated like that, learning from their mistakes, but they don't always do that. So in private practice, it's not an easy answer, right? It's not an easy answer. You apply to a job where a fee-for-service practice owner, Rachel, says, I'm fee-for-service and I don't take any insurance, but what I really want to do is I want to have you sign up for PPOs, and I will have you see all the PPO patients. I won't see any of them. You'll see all of them. Is that a good job, Rachel? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. You're not sure. More questions. What questions are you going to ask on the interview? It's a two-way street. What does Spoiled Guac PPO pay for a crown? If you charge $1,400 and you sign me up for Spoiled Guac PPO, does it pay $600 for a crown? Does it pay $800? Stuff that they don't teach you. And one of the things is, you guys are not, we're never been trained in dental school to deal with conflict, which is totally nacho nuts. Because everything we do is conflict. Everything we do all day long is conflict. We see something on an x-ray, or we see something in someone's mouth, and they are going to benefit, not need, benefit. Don't say need, say would benefit from. So if you're writing things down, write down, don't say need ever again in your dental life. Because no one likes that answer. No one likes to hear that, right? This is what people like. Hey, Divya, you need to get a margarita. That you like, right? Right? You need to stop spending so much money on going out and saving a Roth IRA. Doesn't sound so good, feel so good, right? It's true, it's true. You need to stop. So how about this? Divya, it would benefit you to only go out one night a weekend and take that other money and put it in a Roth IRA. Why? Always explain your why. Because at the end of your life, you probably don't want to live in a cardboard box. And if you never save for retirement, that might happen to you. So it's how you talk to people. So they don't explain to you in dental school how to communicate like that. So on the job interviews, you weirdly don't bring up stuff that you should bring up, which is what we want to train you to do today, so that you can identify a good job, a meh job, a great job, a red flag job. So prior to 2017, when there was no dental nachos, I would just get phone calls or emails, the olden days, of dentists from Philadelphia, and they would say, Marissa would say, hey, I took this job, but they don't really have enough patients for me, and I'm only making half what I'm supposed to make. Should I stay there or not stay there? And I got like 3 of these, right? But now that we have brought the whole universe into dental nachos, I get message after message after message of young bads in trouble because they signed up for a job they never should have signed up for. And one of the things, the take-home message I'm going to share with you guys is, it's really, you're in a nacho jam, whether you know it or not. Because if you look for the perfect job, you might get no job. But if you take a terrible job, a lot of times that's worse than no job at all, because then you're not open to another one. But the best thing you can do is make yourself prepared and aware. Prepared and aware. Because my first job, right? My first job, we talk about my first a lot on this circle of dentisting life. So you go bad, oh, there's a mad, I'll fill these in later, sad, red, this is the bads in training. So my first job is right here. And it sets the tone for a lot of things, and what it really sets the tone for. And if you get a bad first job as a bad, it's bad for your morale. A lot of bads in that sense. It's bad for your morale. People just say things like, I don't know, you ever said, like, you have a bad breakup and someone who's married is like, no big deal, you'll find someone someday. And meanwhile, they go back to their married life and you go back to your Netflix alone night and you're like, oh man, that didn't feel so good. So all the people are like, oh, it's just good experience if you get a bad job. Like, I don't know if it really is, right? You get a place, do you want to be in a place where they ask you to do unethical things? Do you need to be in that place? I don't think you do. Do you want to be in a place where people don't pay you for your work? Is that such a great learning experience? So if you write down on your thing, smart people, smart dentists, learn from their own decisions, right? I didn't make up this quote. But wise dentists Smart dentists learn from their own mistakes. Wise dentists learn from the mistakes of others. So for example, and I'm here to be positive and realistic. Positive and realistic. Positive, El Vez is a great restaurant. Realistic, if you don't have a reservation tonight, it's gonna be a 2-hour wait. Positive and realistic. There's a lot of great opportunities in dentistry. Realistic, we have more dentists wanting these opportunities than opportunities available. So you're sitting there, you're sitting here in your comfort. Some people have gotten some knockoff White Claw out there. I see that, good, that's nice. You got some free chips and salsa from us, pizza. This is in the comfortable area, right? You're going into the cold, harsh world of the real world where the free pizza and the free chips and salsa ends, and you have to make it out there on your own. It's tough. So I encourage you, one thing to do, your own treatment plan, okay? You wanna make a treatment plan for yourself, treatment plan for success. For success is talk to beds plus TADS in real world of dentistry. Talk to them at C events, talk to them at network events, say, hey, this is a really good question, right? Excellent question. Would you take the job you have right now again if it was presented to you now? Or would you prefer a different one? Would you take the job you take right now, would you take a different one? It's a good question in life. Like, if I asked you, the apartment you live in, would you rent that one again? Some of you say, sure. Some of you say, no, I would not. But you're stuck with it, right? You're stuck, you live there. Jobs are worse. Second thing to write down, it's very difficult to change jobs with speed. So if you get a job and it's not good, you're more likely to stay in it longer because the alternative is no money. So it's very critical to evaluate your job. Rate it, great, good, mad, run from it, red flag. I'd rather be unemployed. There's jobs out there where I would encourage you to be unemployed than take that job. And that's very difficult to say, but there's a really, the best way to share this story with you in a positive, realistic, and responsible for your way is, would you rather be hungry or eat fast food? It's a tough answer, right? It's a tough answer. And it happens out there in the dental landscape because the awareness of the opportunities is difficult. I'm gonna bring up here in a few minutes an interviewing expert to help you guys. But what we're gonna do to set up the framework for today, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be realistic, it should be a little bit scary. Stuff that we talk about should be a little bit scary, right? I mean, this is the Einstein GPR, right? Place I love. Positive, working at Einstein is great. Scary, you're not gonna hang out at 1 a.m. at Broad and Olney by yourself, right? Being like, hey, you wanna be my friend? Right? That's just realism, right? That's realism, right? So, I mean, that's why I have to share with you guys. Also, one of the things I wanna set up is you get the Paul, like Dr. Nacho mantras is intention has zero effect on outcome, because there are dentists right now calling me up saying, Paul, I need an associate. I need an associate. I'm 55 years old. I bring in $1 million a year. I need an associate. I need an associate. Oh, okay, you said that enough. I'm ready for the next part. So I say, why do you need an associate? I want to go to my kids' baseball games. I want to work less. They don't need an associate. They want an associate. So then if you didn't sit at this lecture and Marissa goes trotting in and says, oh, I'm Marissa. I did Einstein 2 years, blah, blah. They say, oh, you're perfect for my practice. We're very busy. We're very busy is a feeling, not a number. Write that down. Busy is a feeling, not a number. Busy is a feeling, not a number. Okay, so they hire Jessie and she's like, oh, this is a great practice. And then 3 months in, that owner's like, oh, I like going to my grandkid's game, but I also weirdly like money. So my grandkid, I don't need to see him strike out in baseball. I got to work more, and you're now out of this job. We don't have enough patience for you. The daily safety net guarantee is incredibly important. I offer them in my positions for life. The way we do associate contracts is way too confusing. If I did associate contracts, it'd be like this. You work for me, Divya, for a whole year, you're gonna make $100,000 a year. Twice a year, we're gonna look and see if there's a bonus or not. You never make less than 100, you're an employee, blah, blah, blah. You never make less than that. It'll either be 100 or more. you guys have been on interviews, it's confusing. I got 32% of a draw. It's like you're signing a contract to be a hedge fund partner when you go to cleanings and fillings at Joe's dental office. So the way it's set up is very confusing. So the daily safety net guarantee is important, but it doesn't matter if you have one and the office doesn't need you, you can still be let go of that position. Because you guys all went out there, probably, I know it's residents, you love free stuff, so maybe there actually is no pizza left. We should get a picture of that. But if we have 10 residents and 8 slices of pizza, 2 people are not gonna get pizza. Probably 3 people, because one of you will stick one in your pocket and take it from the other person. So that's this dental world. There's not enough jobs in places where people want to be. There are not. Why are there not? Because if I was to put, I told Mark, I don't like to mess with people, but I like little story studies, but I'm not gonna do this one because it will mess with people's hopes. When Mark comes up to talk, if I went on Instagram and Dental Nachos and my MailChimp list and quickly said, full-time position, Center City, Philadelphia, full-time position, 4 days a week, $125,000 a year, minimum pay, I would have probably 30 requests by the time the seminar was over. 30 people would want that job. And that's what you're competing against in areas that are popular. Now, if you want to live anywhere, that's an advantage. Maybe you think, I'll live anywhere. Is anyone out there? Maybe you're listening on Zoom, like, I'll live anywhere. And you're like, would you live in Erie, PA? Like, not there, right? So even if you live anywhere, how do you find the jobs anywhere, right? You guys know your attendings, they're good people. And I'm going to be this way myself. Do you think your attendings who are 60 years old are incredibly tech savvy in getting their information out there? No. So how are those people going to even share that a job exists? That's a whole nother problem. How does the practice owner let people know the job exists? Right now, a lot of people come to me, I like to help, and they say, I'm in Kentucky, I need an associate. Okay, we'll use Dental Nachos, do a Facebook Live, but sharing of the information is hard. So I want to review your sharing board. I appreciate the sharing board sets us up to be friends. So this is I control conversations with stuff like this, right? So when you check a hygiene patient, here's a tip, rest of your life. Checking a hygiene patient. And I know you guys, you have 1 hygienist at the clinic, right? 1, and there's like 2 now, there's 8 of you. And when they ask you for a hygiene check, you pretend you don't understand what words work, right? Me, the dentist, not me. It's like, you know, so now you're gonna jump into the real world, always checking the hygiene, incredibly annoying. The system stinks, dentistry should change it, but it's where we are. I love you. You're doing a full contact arts and crafts project and you're doing a class 2. You're like, I hope the band doesn't fly off. Just flow off, okay? So, and then the hygienist is like, I need a check, right? And you got to prance over this other room with your nice face on to talk to this whole other person when your arts and crafts project is going terribly in the other room, okay? So you need to have word systems, how you get in, how you get out, how you control it. So one of the things, I sit down, I say things like, David, I know you're so happy to be here. It's such a great place. You laugh because you don't like it. And then first thing I say is, what do you plan for after this? I immediately want your brain, what are you doing after this? What are you planning for after this, right? Because, you know, they say they're going to their cat's funeral. I'm like, that kind of sucks. But, you know, I'm like, usually they say, I'm going to see my grandkids, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm checking them. And at the end, this is magic words. Say this every time. You'll remember me when you say it because I have this weird way of lodging into your brain. End of the visit, okay? Hygiene visit, get out of the room. You want to pretend you don't want to rush out, but you want to rush out. Hard to do. What other questions or what questions can I answer about your teeth? What questions can I answer about your teeth? Not, do you have any questions? I do not see enough writing. You guys don't remember this? Somebody's gonna call from Einstein with an emergency, or there's gonna be a happy hour thing tonight, and you're gonna forget it. What other questions or what questions can I answer about your fill in the blank? Teeth, gums, mouth, things like that. The key, circle it, is what, not do. Do you have any questions? No, not likable. At the end of this, what other questions can I answer about interviewing for a job? It gives you the opportunity and it gives you the safe space to share the other questions, or for you to say, no, I'm good, and you seem very likable. That's how you get out of a hygiene room. What other questions can I answer about this? So this is how I said it. So we had, look at all these good things. Someone did a 4-unit bridge. Javier, what poor teeth on either side there? What happened? How come not 2 implants in a 4-unit bridge? What teeth were they?
I was 11, XX 14.
Was it previous bridge or new one?
Previous bridge, KFM, failure.
Javier. PFM what?
Bridge.
And what did it do? Javier, making zero impact. I just said we're all going to be positive. He's drinking a White Claw, eating free food, so don't say fail. What? Honestly, wait, Mrs. Smith, you're number 18. It has failed. So dramatic. What, we're trying to make people, honestly, the way dentists talk, people should like you less. You're weird, you're arrogant, and you make people, where is he? Oh, your bridge has failed. What are we going to say? Don't say fail, say what?
No longer maintainable.
That's not bad. Don't say fail. Don't say it. Needs to be replaced, or no, time to replace. If you want to seem really likable, it's time to retire. Don't talk to people the way dental school instructors talk to you, right? Dental school instructors would tell you how you ate lunch was a failure. They tell you failures about things that didn't even exist, right? How you're walking is a failure. I'm walking, it's a failure of walking, right? Because it's toxic, and we shouldn't say those words. Don't say fail, say time to replace. Your sister visited, great, it's productive. This is a good, what is this? Tell me more about this. So I'm going to introduce Mark in a minute, but so this is here's what happens. Anjali, it was productive. Zero idea what this means, okay? So instead of me being like, huh, Anjali, I'll be like, tell me more about that. Mark taught me that. Tell me more about productive.
Just felt more like my patients that I treatment plan were coming back rather than just seeing what.
Awesome. So then I'll repeat you. That's awesome. Your patient's coming back. You must be having a great impact on them. Good job, Anjali. Now your brain's happy. Rachel, you finalized wedding details? That's nice. When are you getting married? May. You know, May this year?
Yeah.
Look at that. Marriage is a legal obligation to hang out with the same person the rest of your life. That's what it is. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because if you want to stop being friends with someone, you just leave. Marriage, you've got to get a judge involved. You're like, can I please not hang out with this person anymore? Like, there's paperwork involved in this. You got to sign paperwork. Jesse, good. Fun dinner. Where'd you guys go?
So Dr. Altman took us out.
Awesome. David, you placed an implant, resident dinner, ate really awesome vegan mousse. Alexis, I like this. This is about his TSD and JBS. So TSD is That's So Dentist, okay? TSD, That's So Dentist, is this crazy way our brain got mangled, right? We went to dental school. We were probably all smart in college, took philosophy classes. People would share a new idea, and you'd be like, I'd like to learn more about that new idea. Then you go to dental school, and you just get, everything's negative, right? If you said to a dentist, I'm going to go to the park, it's sunny, they'll be like, could rain, could snow, right? That's not nice. And Alexis, you did, so that's a little TSD, because we asked you what the best thing was, and you picked an objectively not good thing. But then you did bring it back by saying at least it wasn't broken. So I'll give you credit for that. You sprained it. Did you have to miss any clinic time? Nice. Ate some awesome Korean food. Best concern about interviewing for a job. Javier and Divya, don't act like just because you're doing a 1 or 2 year program, it's not going to happen. Like, not my turn now, you know? Right. Seeing red flags, Anjali, rushing into things. See, finding a job in dentistry is a lot like dating, exactly the same way. But you can ghost a dude or a girl. You cannot ghost a job, right? Because your job pays your rent. The girl or guy who doesn't like their, I don't know. But, yeah, right, yeah. I like that. Assuming mutual interest, same thing. Dating, finding a job is a lot like dating. Dating, geography, I like that. Ryan, what are you doing next year?
Not dating.
Are you doing oral surgery? Which program? Awesome. Compensation, money, Alexis, you're waiting too, okay? What? This is actually a failure. We had last lecture where you guys all looked at me and committed to doing one networking event, and only one person, well, Alexis, she wasn't even here at the last meeting, went to the ACP. So this needs to really go up. I'm going to ask you a question. So you talk to a patient, and you're like, we did a temporary crown. Don't say temporary, say short term. You have a short term crowning, right? Don't say final. You ever say to someone, this is your final crown? There's no such thing as that. Say long term for final, short term for temporary. So you ever have someone come back with a short term crown that's off the next day, and you're like, what happened? I said not to eat anything sticky. They're like, I ate taffy, is that sticky? I'm like, is this your first day on planet Earth? Of course that's sticky. So I'm going to say to my people here, what prevented you from getting to a networking event? Because I shared that getting to a networking event is the key to getting said job, right? The key to talking, just like dating. Oh, maybe you talk to somebody like Todd Fleischman, who has an associate, but he says, my friend Bob Smith needs an associate. So, Javier, what prevented you from getting to a networking event?
Lack of will.
Lack of will, okay. Divya, what prevented you?
I guess not looking into it.
Not looking, okay. I like the honesty. Anjali, what prevented you?
Just losing track of time, I guess, after the first couple of days.
You're like, I'm not smart anymore. You're like in a real existential journey. I'm very productive. Life is just a journey. But what's time? Is time a thing, right? So, losing track of time. Is today Wednesday, right? Rachel? Laziness. Jesse?
I did try to get us a discount on that one, and then we couldn't do it. So
I give you credit. I give you 10%. Was that the day that I was here and told everyone to try to get a discount on that one? But the Loudbach one tried. David?
Lost track of time.
Lost track, okay. Marissa?
I feel like I've had a million little tiny things to do. Keep not doing.
Million little things to do. Is not being able to afford your rent a big thing to do? Because that's what's coming down the pipe.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain 3 I got 3 licenses, which has been a nightmare to me.
That's not easy. Ryan, what about you? Lazy. Okay, so here he is doing your job for you, right in paper. March 14th, we have another Bagels, Jobs, and Mads right out here, okay? You know the place, you know the area, so come on March 14th. And guess what? Watch this, Divya. How much does it cost? Zero. It's free, right? It's free. So March 14th is an event. March 19th is a sleep apnea event. It doesn't matter, watch this, it doesn't matter what the CE is on, just go. Do you know how many times I say to a young dental student or resident, like, it's on crowns, like I already know everything to know about crowns. I'm like, that's a ridiculous thing to say, and just go anyway. I'm gonna have a new thing for CE, find out when you get there. That's what it's called. The CE, you're gonna find out what's a pop-up, like a veterinary restaurant. I'm gonna call it veterinary CE. March 14th and March 19th are 2 events because we're gonna ask other medium-aged dentists and seasoned-aged dentists to come and meet you people because they don't know how to do it either. Last new restaurant we have here. So, are you guys trying to make me upset with this one over here? Okay, so CE budget. So we just did CE on TV on Wednesday night. So Dr. Carl Kohner is a great leader. He teaches how people how to do extractions. So you guys at Einstein learn a lot about extractions, but maybe people in dental school, you guys, I know we don't do that many at Penn. So extractions and socket preservation is a great tool for a BAD to have because you will be working with SADs who picked up an elevator last in the 70s. So they don't want to extract teeth anymore. So if you work with them and you say, I can do some extractions, I can do some, and you know what's even cooler, Dr. Sad, I can do socket preservation after the extraction, which could be a $400 to $700 procedure. Who did a socket preservation, extract socket in the last month at Einstein? Okay, Jesse, was it very hard? No, not bad. Rachel, was it hard? No, because you guys have gotten better at case selection. So I was talking about this on the CE on TV, and someone wrote back on Zoom, how can you recommend someone take Dr. Corner's course overseas when we have such high student loans? Because he has a course overseas for like $2,000 or $3,000 because we have so much debt. And here's the thing, CE is what gets you out of debt. CE is what gets you out of debt. Who is married or friends with a doctor, medical doctor? Same training as you right now. Anyone? Cousins, sisters? But you're working at Einstein, right? So at Einstein, is there 4th-year medical residents there with you? Right? So they're being paid to do their doctorcy every year, and they don't have a choice. So they have to do 3 to 6 years. So medicine has many problems, but training is not one of them. So they know they're in it for 3 to 6 years at $50,000 or $60,000 a year. When you guys get out, this was a good one. Jess, David, I respect this joke here, okay? I like it. These two are this is the minimum you should spend and commit to it, okay? Anjali, $100, right? You go to a restaurant and it's more than $100. I joke and not joke with you because I just got feedback about the Nachopedia. So the Nachopedia is 60+ hours of CE courses I put together, me and my friends, great instructors. I put it together like a virtual encyclopedia. And we've been marketing it, and some early adopters bought it, right? So the Nachopedia, I'm just using this as an example of an online CE. It's 800, students can get deals in residence, but it's $800 for a real dentist, right? So I market this thing, it's an $800 thing, 60 hours of learning they can use for their life, right? Like a reference book. So some people bought it. Someone emailed me this morning, Dr. Tony Disler, he's also Nachoer, and he said, hey, Paul, I just want to let you know the Nachopedia is gold. I've been using a lot of your patient communication tips, and I've been tweaking what I say to patients. And I've noticed, as a practice owner, his case acceptance has gone up, okay? So he probably bought it at the intro price. Let's just say he spent $500 on that Nachopedia, okay? Let's say he spent $500 on it. What type of ROI do you think they'll have for his life? Return on investment, David?
A lot.
Like, quantify it. If you have a 30-year career and you can improve your case acceptance, how much extra production do you think you can do a year?
Like percentage-wise or?
Numbers, would you say at least 25,000 more in production? 50,000? So over 30 years, right? That over 30 years, that $500 investment can bring him $1.5 million of production. If you make a third of what you do, that $500 investment can turn into $500,000. But if you never invest in that stock, right, you don't get the return. So I wish we all had mirrors right now. My Nacho team, we're gonna get handheld mirrors because I'd ask you to hold it up and look at yourself and be like, I am the stock and I am worth it. Because if you do not invest in that, and weirdly, I bring you guys up. So I did 3 years at Einstein, right? 3 years I did at Einstein. That was a tremendous investment in myself early in my career. I didn't go out and make 100 grand, 120 grand. Who here's seen Todd Fleischman speak? Here, you guys know me. So do you think Todd is a good role model, Marissa? Do you think he does the types of cases he enjoys? Do you think he does the type of dentistry that a lot of people would like?
Yeah.
He's probably invest $15,000 to $20,000 a year in CE on himself now. And he's done that in whatever way that felt since dental school. So you have to invest in your Roth IRA until it feels uncomfortable. And you most definitely have to invest in yourself through CE until it feels uncomfortable. And how about this? Watch this, right? I know you're TSD, right? You're probably thinking, what if I sign up for a CE course and it stinks? Thinking that, Rachel? Thinking that? Well, Divya is doing endo. Good job. Well, got a purchase. Sorry, you're off the thing. Ryan also. Dave, you thinking I might sign up for a course that stinks?
Possible.
Yeah. Watch this. It's definitely going to happen. You're definitely going to go to courses that stink. You're definitely going to go on bad dates. But you're going to get to a place. You're going to learn something from it. Maybe you don't go to it again. But if you go to 10 CE courses or you invest in 10 things, most of it's going to be good. I've given CE. I've gone to CE. How many CE courses do you think I went to in 3 years of Einstein from the attendance? A lot, okay? I've given it. I've gone to it. I plan meetings. Most dental CE is outstanding. Most. There's some that stink, but most. Because if you stand in a room, and you've gone to CE courses, right, Javier?
Yes.
Right, Divya, I would just put you up from the dental student thing the other day when we saw Corey Glenn, right? Do you think the person who stands up there teaching CE really enjoys it? Like the person teaching dentists? Do you think that they enjoy doing that type of stuff? Do you get the vibe that they do? It's literally one of their favorite things to do, or else they wouldn't do it. There's no giant dollars in going town to town like a monorail salesman from The Simpsons teaching CE. You have to do it because you like it, because to get to that point is you have to put in a lot of hard time. So investing in yourself in CE is good. Just pick a number and commit to it. And Anjali, I'm going to add a 0 here for you. Divya, you're going to get more free stuff probably, but 2,000 should be the minimum. So we're going to switch gears now. I'm going to introduce you to our guru for the day. So Mark Dorio plays a lot of different roles in my life. First, I met him as a patient when he had not seen the dentist in a longer time than most of you guys had been alive. I was 28 years old, and Mark came in and said, I have not seen the dentist in 30 years. And usually when we stand up here, we talk about his case and his implants that have needed to be replaced and how we've gotten to him to this point since 2005. He also was at Einstein working with the chief residents. But I brought him here today for a different reason, because Mark is the author of The Idiot's Guide to the Perfect Job Interview. So who here has done some interview training in their life? You did, Jesse? What'd you do?
I mean, I just like throughout school or like the end of, like, pre-dental stuff.
Pre-dental stuff.
And like, for GPR stuff, just like,
But like, have you, like, let's say we call it like salsa dancing or flamenco dancing. Has anyone gone to that type of lessons for interviews? I hadn't when that time, because I didn't even know it existed, right? But now if you're going to be applying to jobs and you're competing against other people, how do you differentiate yourself during that interview process? What are you going to say? So Mark's going to come up here and do some training, talk with you guys, and turn it over to him. And we'll take a short break, get more pizza, another knockoff White Claw, and then we're going to do some, you're going to meet maybe 2 or 3 of them, because we're going to do some role playing where I'm the dental practice owner and you guys are the applicants, okay? I'm the dental practice owner and you guys are the applicants. And to give you a preview, so Mark's going to do some training, but you know, if I said this to you, Anjali, what's your dental treatment philosophy?
do good.
Do good, okay. Rachel, could you describe the current technology that you're familiar with that you can add to my practice?
Invisalign, trios,
Marissa, how fast can you do a crown?
I can comfortably prep, temp, and press a crown in 90 minutes, but I can prep and temp in half an hour.
And
Good job.
how about while you're checking 2 hygiene patients?
That's
Watch this. This is, I mean, my dental people, right? So dramatic. Some of you know it's on Dental Nachos. Worse than a fight about religion and politics. Worse than that. Forget about religion and politics. Peace in the Middle East, that's like a nursery rhyme compared to this. Do you block with Septicane? Blew up Dental Nachos, right? Blew it up. Blew it right up, okay? So I actually asked you guys, at Einstein, did they let you block with Septicane?
Yes.
They let you block with it. Does the endo department block with Septicane? They do not, right?
I don't.
Right.
They'll let you go. Not a pediatric clinic, but no one will
They'll
stop.
let you use it, whether
I
you.
use
Use Septicane for blocks, right? So there's a lot of confusion over this. There's a lot of stories over this. But what if I said to you, hey, David, do you block with Septicane? And you said, yes. I said, we don't do that here. Is that okay with you?
I guess.
Yeah, right, I guess. So you're going to get all these questions that are a little weird. Now, remember, just so I can show off for Mark a little bit before he comes up, when I ask you a question like, hey, Divya, we don't block with Septicane here. We don't do it. Is that going to be a problem for you? What are you going to say?
No.
That's not bad, but what is my training to say when you get a weird question?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. If I were you, I'd want to know it too. Gives you that second to think. If you're on an interview, you can't say it 20 times, by the way. You just seem like a crazy person. You save it for you say, what's your name? That's a good question. I'd also want to know my name if I were you. You got to save it, right? You got to save it for this stuff. So I'm going to introduce Mark, let him take over. Thanks for being here, Mark, and you're allowed to meet them.
Yeah, I think my nightmares used to be being with dentists, so, oh my God. Two things I want to know. Well, first of all, I don't know, I want to know faces and names, so I'm going to give you 2 questions, so I want to get to know you a little bit better. Why did you choose dentistry? That might be an interview question. Why did you choose dentistry? And what did you want to do when you were 16? Maybe you want to be a dentist, I don't know. So can you introduce yourself to me a little bit? Like, why did you choose dentistry? And what did you want to do like you're 15 or 16? What do you think you were going to do? And you're David, yes. Why did you choose dentistry?
I really like aesthetics.
Anesthetic?
No, like
Oh, okay, all right, I heard.
the surgery aspect, like more surgery a lot. When I was 16, I knew I wanted to go into healthcare, but it was very nonsense.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. And you're?
Thanks, Brian.
Hi, Brad.
I would say because I enjoyed that. That was hands-on. I wanted to do something hands-on with it.
Okay. Okay.
And when I was 16, I was looking for physical therapy.
Okay. Hi, Eric.
Originally, it was for the hours and the money. Now it's
Okay.
to help people.
Okay.
I think I kind of wanted to be a musician.
Do you still play music now? Do you play an instrument or you
Uh,
just something that's, okay, yeah. Okay, great.
Why does play instrument? Lack of will? So,
I did not.
no, that's your C question as well.
Uh,
Yeah.
And you're?
My name's Dania.
Hi, Dania.
I like dentistry because of like the patient interaction.
Okay.
I like that like you can kind of see them throughout the treatment,
Okay.
and like talk to them. When I was 16, I wanted to be a dentist.
Hi, I'm Anjali. I went into dentistry because I like science and I like working with my hands and hours and pay.
Okay.
And then when I was 16, I thought I wanted to be like a medical doctor, and that changed.
Changed, okay. Yes.
My name is Rachel. I went into dentistry because my family didn't grow up with one. At 16, I wanted to be a dentist.
Okay, so, okay.
I'm Jessie. I think I was attracted to the variety of dentistry and like the patient interaction along with, business and
Okay.
science and art.
Okay.
And at 16, I think that was still in my like cardiothoracic surgeon phase
Ah, okay.
or neurosurgeon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marissa, and I was surrounded by way too many dentists in my circle.
Okay.
I really have many people in my life that aren't dentists, but I was always fascinated by it. My sister's an English teacher, she's normal.
Okay, good, wow.
I
How'd she escape? Okay,
I
yeah.
love to be around it. I love that there was the art aspect to it and the science aspect to it.
Okay.
My dad made everything with block cars, so I used to watch him do everything, and it was beautiful. And when I was 16, I was pretty set on being a dentist. But if that didn't work out, I was going to be a Broadway star, so,
Oh, okay, well, it's hard choices here, hard choices.
That's my fault.
These are hard choices, yes,
Oh my God.
yes.
I'm Alexis. I think when I was a kid, I did not take good care of my teeth, and I was there all the time with the dentist, and had really bad experiences, and was shamed and all that kind of good stuff, and felt like I wanted to do better for patients, and I felt that they deserved better, and sort of fell into this whole viewpoint of just dentistry needs to become better, and so really, and then fell in love with it for so many other reasons, and I pretty much do since I was 16.
That's your movie, okay, yeah, okay.
My name's Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I went to dentistry honestly just because I figured I wanted to help people. Just what I fell in love with. And at 16, I convinced myself that I could be an athlete.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of theater involved in dentistry, so you can still do that. Good, thank you. Just gives me a chance to get to know who you are a little bit as people. Yeah, as Paul said, I haven't been to a dentist in 30 years, went to Paul, and the rest is history. But I think the most important thing I've got to tell you about Paul is that going to the dentist was my entry into the medical. Because obviously, when you saw my teeth, I had not even been to a doctor in 30 or 40 years. Okay, I go to Paul and we decide on a plan. He's going to do some implants. And the first thing he says to me, well, to start off, you have to do some extraction. So the first day I go in for an extraction, I'm terrified. And Paul says, by the way, before we do this, why don't we take your blood pressure? And my blood pressure that day was like 110 over 190. I was like dying, okay? I mean, this morning my blood pressure was 114 over 68. So I mean, all of a sudden he says, no, we don't do anything. You go to a doctor first. When you get a doctor's approval, then you come back and see me. I went to the doctor and found I had cholesterol, all sorts of maladies. And so I always say to Paul, you saved my life. And literally, if I had not gone to the dentist, and the dentist had not been that young fellow right there who says, I'm going to know about you as a person, I wouldn't be alive today. My wife says, you would be dead by now because my blood pressure is off the charts, everything's off the charts. So I think, to me, you are everything you do is so important to people that somebody like say myself coming in, it's not just about my teeth, it's about my health. So I thank you very much for doing that. Paul, thank you.
Play that when you get mad at me, you know?
Yeah, I have to mention that. Okay. What I thought of doing before we start interviewing, I thought I would give you a little bit of a background on the overview of the job market. Now, I saw something yesterday. I was looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they were telling me that the BLS was saying that in the next 10 years, there's going to be like a 19% increase in need for dentists coming out. You got people retiring, there's a lot of things. So the marketplace looks pretty good from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, okay? But what I want to do is go over and give you an idea of how to look for a job. Let's start with that. Is that what helpful? How to look for a job, then we'll talk about interviewing, because so we're going to talk about three things. That if you look at the job market, okay, if we look at the job market, you have three types of jobs, levels. You've got the visible jobs, you've got the hidden jobs, and you've got the invisible jobs. I don't know if you've ever seen this categorization before. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. I've got the job finding tips, check it out. That's kind of my lecture notes, so we're going to go through. I also want to make this interactive because since we are, as people looking in and streaming on us, I think there may be things that you have done or haven't done that will help other people. So we're going to make this kind of interactive, more than me just kind of if you're talking. Okay, first thing, in terms of jobs, where do you want to live? A crazy question, right? Where do you want to live? I mean, I've had people that I've worked with at Nacho program. I've had people want to go to Maine, people want to go to Florida, people want to stay in Philadelphia, or go to New York City. Where do you want to live? Have you thought about that? Have you ever, where are you going to live? Where do you want to live?
Like a medium-sized city, all America.
Okay, medium-sized city, okay, but city, okay. And others, where do you want to live?
Stay in the area, South Jersey, Philadelphia.
Stay in the area for Jersey, well, okay.
Italy.
Okay, yeah. So the first thing you want to think about is where do I want to live? And obviously you have a profession that is portable, right? You can go anywhere, right, in the country, there you go. But I think that's an important question. Where do I want to live? I don't know if you've even thought about that yet. Okay, so can you think about that? Okay, I want you to think about that. The second thing I think you think about is in terms of job, do you want a corporate job or a private job? There's differences, right? Do you know the differences between the two? What do you say? What are some of the differences? What do you think, corporate or private? What's that mean to you?
Corporate, I normally think of management not done by dentists.
Okay, like a DSO or multiple locations. What do you think?
Production focused, very focused on production, not necessarily stereotyped, not necessarily focused on patient care and visualization.
Okay.
That's just a stereotype.
Okay. What do you think? I don't know if you ever thought about that. Most want to go in private practice. Okay, but there are some folks that would be attracted by that, maybe a corporate environment. Okay. The third thing in terms of job finding, and here's where we get to what I call the visible jobs. The visible jobs are the jobs that are advertised. They're out there. So I've done some research. Craigslist, don't laugh. Craigslist actually had some jobs available. Have you looked at, okay. Here, let me mention these, then see which ones you've used and how, if you even start looking. Hunter and Spence, a great site. Hunter and Spence has a lot of information. Even I looked up all the interview questions they asked. And I even have questions for owners, what questions they ask, and jobs. Monster.com, Glassdoor. I looked up this past week, and Glassdoor had a lot of associate jobs, quite a few jobs in Philadelphia. What have you found helpful? What do you have? Those of you who are kind of into that mode, what's
Also, dental schools actually have sometimes job listings.
I was going to ask you, do you have dental schools? Your career centers have them? Or have jobs posted?
Penn does.
Penn does?
Went to the portal, yeah.
The portal, okay.
Indeed or LinkedIn mostly.
LinkedIn, okay.
Yeah. Practice Rail, which is the Nacho one.
Okay. Other sites you can use? Helpful? Yes.
Much sites that I looked in dental practices in the areas that I want to live and just.
You're getting to my next one. Yes. Actually, so the sites themselves are visible jobs. Sometimes they'll mention who the organization is. They're very visible. They're out there. Check them out. LinkedIn, all those sites you have, they're out there. The fourth technique we're using is contacts and networking, and they tend to be down here somewhere, both invisible or hidden jobs. What I mean by that is that your networking, I used to see there weren't too much networking going on here, but networking is where you find people that have jobs that maybe aren't even up here yet. Because not all jobs come up here. Sometimes jobs are just there. People are looking for people. They're not advertising, but there's available jobs. I call it the hidden job market, right? Have you found that all? So the networking is what Paul has here. You come here for that events he's talking about, but also networking in terms of people you know. Who's done networking? I mean, what's it worked for you? And so I get a feeling, what kind of?
I like contacting your dental school faculty, like one faculty that I was really close to, she was like mom to me. I just was like, hey,
keep me in mind, like, I'm looking. And so I like sent her my CV just so she knew anybody. But she's
Okay.
but she's not looking, but just kind of like.
Right, now, what's interesting about networking is that what you just did is a perfect example of networking. I like to use networking to extend that. So if you have somebody like that, say to her, are there 5 people you know I could contact?
Yeah.
Right? In other words, extend it out. And then when you call each of those 5 people, do you know 5 people I could contact? So networking can really, sometimes people say to me, Mark, I've done networking, I've contacted all the people I know, I've given my CV out, and nothing's happened. I'll say, you don't just go to one person. You go to one person and say, here's my CV, but can you give me 5 names of people that you know? They give you 5 names. Each of those 5 people have 5 people. I used to work for, when I started before writing my books, I was a headhunter in New York City. And I could start off with 2 names in a given day that I've seen from New York Times or from any online publications. And by the end of the day, I've talked to 50 people just by using technique. So networking is, if you know a few folks, have them give you some names. The other thing is the alumni. I don't know if you have alumni contacts through Penn or Einstein. All your alumni contacts are a great way to network. Now, the direct contacts are even interesting. So say you want to work in Paoli, okay? Do you know all the dental private practice in Paoli? Do you know who they are?
No, she might. She actually might.
You might, right? That's a very specific. But think about that. Anywhere you want to go, if you want to go, if you want to work in Denver, I don't know. There's ways to find out who are the dental practices in Denver. You say, well, what's good for me? If you know who they are, you begin to make contact with them directly. But they aren't advertising. I know they're not. But there is a market here called the invisible market. And invisible is where there are openings or potential openings that you can tap into. Because, for example, a lot of times you'll find that a client of mine right now is looking for a chief operating officer for their organization. They haven't advertised. They haven't used an agency. They're thinking about it. I will tell you right now that if a CV came into them tomorrow, that person will be interviewed. So a lot of times, if you can find practices, dental practices in the geographic area you want, don't be afraid to directly contact them. Send a CV, walk in the door. It sounds crazy, but there are, and all of a sudden you find out that so-and-so is going to retire in 6 months. Or, by the way, we've expanded and we're going to be looking for a new person. We haven't advertised yet, okay? We haven't advertised it, but there's going to be an opening there. That is a very, I don't know if I've ever done that. I've ever just directly contacted an organization. Don't be afraid to do that. You say, well, I don't know if there's a job there. You don't know if there's a job there, but sometimes just having your foot in the door, oh, by the way, we have somebody that's going to be leaving us. She just gave us notice. She's relocating to Florida. Oh, I have an opening. Yeah, I haven't advertised yet. Haven't told anybody about the job, but there's an opening. So the invisible market is really one of the hottest ways to go for a job. I don't know if you ever thought about this. What do you think? Have you ever think? Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And you say, well, what do you mean by contact? Contact as many people as you can. Think of the geographic area you want to go, find out who the dental practices are, and contact them. Send a CV. Walk in the door. So the other thing I have here is your dental supply reps, right? The Shines and the Pattersons and Bencos. Do you know who they are? Ever talk to a rep from those organizations? Yes?
Yeah, we had one come and speak to us. Give us information.
And he gave a talk or just came just
Yeah, she came and gave a talk.
She
and gave us some do's and don'ts of like going out into the job market post residency. What we should accept, what we shouldn't accept.
Okay. Yeah. That can be a great source. They know everybody, right? They know everybody. So they're a great source. Also the labs. I don't know if you have any contact with people who work in your dental labs. They also know people. So I mean, you see what we're trying to do. I'm trying to get as many people as you can to contact. The ADA, Career Center, local state dental societies, they also have sites for work, right? Have anybody ever tapped into those at all? Right, have you? Yes? What's that like? Which,
I don't know if there's actually a listing, but I'm part of a committee, so let's ask the dentist on that committee.
right, their committees, they go, yeah. The other thing, and Paul can speak to this more than I can, is dental practice consultants, appraisers, and brokers, right? How do you tap into those, Paul?
I mean, this goes back to, just do that one thing, put yourself in rooms as much as possible with, to make dentistry connections. Really, it goes back to all types of CE, small, medium, and large, because they go to their sponsors. One of the keys when you come to events is to talk not just to dentists, but also every sponsor. Go up and say, hi, my name is Jesse. I'd love to work in Philadelphia. If you hear anything, I would love to connect with that dentist, sponsors, and company people. Generally, everyone in dentistry, even though I joke about everyone being very TSD, which is very true, but they are weird. People are helpful if you really can put it right in front of their face. Like, do you know anyone, Rachel, who lives on Walnut Street? You'll tell me that, right? But you won't seek that out. So you got to go up to them and say hi, and they'll solve that problem. Because a rep walking around from Banco into Dr. Mark Stewart's office, you're going to be sitting there saying, my associate just got into an endo program, I need a new one, and then they know you guys.
That's what happens. That's your invisible market right there. Yeah. Okay. And then, positive, focused, and more importantly, stay in contact with this fellow right here. There's a lot of people. There's networking events. I have another sheet of paper for you. It says new dentist job search key questions. Some of it kind of this overlaps, but some key questions for you. What type of practice do I want to join? Okay, have you thought about that? What kind of practice? What is that practice going to look like? Have any answers to that? What kind of practice do you want to join? Have you ever thought about that? How would you describe the practice?
That treats their patients well and makes them feel cared for.
Wait, pardon?
One that treats their patients well and makes them feel cared for.
Okay,
Just
okay.
like they're trying to get their money or not.
Okay, that's important, right? The values they have. Okay, what else? What kind of practice you want to join? How would you describe it?
The staff work well together.
Wait, pardon?
Or the staff work well together.
Staff works well together. Okay, this is good, right? Yes, and we're going to tell you how.
Culture, like energetic, like just like fun to work there.
Yeah, I have down here. When we talk about interviewing, I'm going to give you some tips on how to find out how that staff works. Okay, what kind of people do you want to work with? Maybe the same thing, right? Teamwork, values. Your values are very important to you, right? What kind of people you want to work with? If you had to describe the people you want to work with, what would it be like?
Positive, team-oriented, just like love what they do.
Okay, what do you think? So, Chris?
Compassionate people, team-oriented.
Okay, these are important because when we get into the interview process, you got to be able. We're going to tell you how to find these things out, right? Because it's just so you have to have a picture of what you want. It's very important. Yes. How about yourself? What kind of people you want to work with?
People who are genuine and will tell you how it is also, and then also just really like those that are really happy.
People. Okay, good. We're going to have to find out if they're happy or not. No, it's important.
Sometimes I don't know if you ever had this experience, like all the time, where someone's like, my family gets along really well, and you go on vacation with them, and their version of getting along really well, screaming at you.
Yeah, right.
So the best thing that you can do, which I don't know if this applies, is the same in Mark's world with his business interviews, but just if you don't do this, you're not true nuts. If you don't do this, you're not true nuts. So you probably should write this on a piece of paper because you're gonna forget it. When you leave an interview, whether you like it, love it, hate it, think it's okay, your question is, hey, would you mind if I came by for half a day and observed what went on here?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay me, there's no pay, because this is the magic words. I would love to see how things operate during a regular day and make sure I'm a good fit for you. Not make sure you're a good fit for me. And then it's very disarming because dentists like to show off their offices. And what happens is the team will be very authentic. So when you guys do interview day and it's interview day, you guys act a lot nicer probably than non-interview day because you're like, we better pretend we all get along here because new people want to come here. But if people came by on a random Tuesday afternoon, it's not bad, they would just see more authenticity. So if you just say, hey, can I stop by on this day and you wander around, you'll see more authenticity, how long the hygiene checks really take, to give them time, you have assistance.
And we'll talk to you a little bit later on how even just sitting in the waiting room will tell you a lot about the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. How much money do you want to make? Somebody had compensation up here.
I found that really awkward to talk about in the first
Yes.
two interviews. It's still awkward because I always
Yes.
very uncomfortable talking about money. So they're like, how much money do you want to make? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Paul can talk more about that also, but I think that how much I like, not so much how much how much money do you need is even a better question, which means you got to crunch some numbers.
But you also don't want to say the wrong thing. It's like awkward because you don't want to ask for too much and seem greedy. You don't want to ask for too little and then be like, oh, good, I don't have to pay them that.
Well, as I recommend in my book, I want, you want to find out from them what the structure is, okay? Don't answer that question. If somebody says, well, how much money do you want to make? Well, I would say, before I answer that question, I would like to know what your structure is, okay? And we'll talk about how to ask for money.
So do I, so just, I can add in some just like quick insights for you guys that's happening now. From talking to my other friends, it seems like,
Right.
it seems like that associates make between $500 to $800 a day. So I said on my webinar last night, this is good for you guys, if you could say this, if every dentist said this, we would make our lives easier. Please do this for me. Tomorrow, when you finish a procedure, even you dental students, 3 hours long for our it's okay, no problem. People love sitting that long. Say to the patient, when they're done, it's normal for this dental thing we did, crown, filling, partial, it's normal for this dental thing that we did to last 5 to 12 years. Because right then and there, you're managing their expectations. Most dental work lasts 5 to 12 years. So if someone's listening out and they say, well, one time at band camp, I saw a crown last 30 years. Great, even better. Don't worry about it. What if the crown breaks in 2 years? Deal with it then. So I'm giving you the same tools. Live your life in the most. From talking to my friends, most associates earn between $500 to $800 a day. And then you're going to see their face, right? And they're going to say, oh, okay, yeah, our last associate made $600 a day. Good answer. You know, the dentist has never had an associate. They say, that's way too much. I only make $400 a day. So that's really a great test, right? Most associates, from talking to my friends, make between 500 and 800. So Marissa, your number of, I'm not so sure, I don't want to say the right thing, is why I just despise our dental school training. Because I feel so bad that this happened to us. You don't want to give the wrong answer because there's no such thing as a wrong answer. That's how disturbed we are as people, right? What's your favorite color? I don't want to say the wrong answer, right? I don't want to say blue. You might not like blue, but there's like blue, so we show some people like blue. What happened to us, right? We used to be normal, now we're us. How much money do you want to make, David? That's a really good question. I'm coming out of school, I have loans. Most associates, from talking to my friends, make between $500 to $800 a day. Great answer. That's how to answer questions. You don't answer questions that way, you don't seem confident, whether it's with dental treatment or talking to people. And also, I have to tell you, the owners sometimes don't know either. They're totally open to whatever you say, right? They don't know either because they don't have to. So you are controlling the conversation. And where would you put this information so that you don't forget to say it? In your notebook that you bring to the interviews and say, I want to jot down a few notes. But on the side, even me, speaker McSpeaker, right? Guys doing this all the time. I had notes for you guys. It said here, what is your dental treatment philosophy like? Because I wanted to remember to ask that. I wouldn't necessarily remember that. So it's just, what do you want to ask? So you mind if I jot down a few notes and you have them inside your book? So great point.
Okay, next question, next thing I have here. Do I like the office? I'm going to tell you when you get into the interview prep part of this talk, always arrive early for your first interview. Okay, so if you're supposed to see the owner at 1 o'clock, arrive at 12:40. Now, when you arrive, you say to the person who's the receptionist, I'm here to see Dr. Pennington, we use Dr. Pennington, Dr. Nacho at 1 o'clock. I'm a little bit early. Don't introduce me. I just sit here for a few minutes and sit and look and listen to the office. It's amazing what you'll find out just by watching the office, how that front desk operates, the things you hear, how patients are greeted. So start doing your intelligence right away. And you can tell an awful lot about an office, just how that front office works. I always tell Paul when he works with his staff, that front office sets a tone for how that practice operates. How do they operate together? My daughter, one of my daughters, when she first started looking for her work, was in New York City. She was working in advertising, and she was looking at a number of designers, fashion designers that were interested in her. And she went into the first office and she sat down, and it was Calvin Klein. And she sat in his waiting room, and everything in the office was white. The chairs were white, the walls were white, all the people were white. And she wanted to work in a very diverse place. So she's like, that's not for me, even though then she went for the interview, just to go for the interview. She went to Ralph Lauren, and she sat in his waiting room, and all of a sudden people were all different, there's a diverse group of people. The office was comfortable, and she knew that place she wanted to work. So sometimes the front office tells you a lot about that place. So get there early and just get the vibe of the office, okay? Is there updated equipment and software? Okay, do they have digital radiology? Do they have intraoral cameras? I don't know, whatever you think about technology, I think that's one of the questions we're going to ask you later on. What do you know about technology and software? That is something you can find out. It's a good question to ask, what their equipment looks like, right? Because that's going to tell you a lot about the practice too, whether they're up to date, whether they're behind times. And then, can I grow as a dentist? I think that's an important thing. I'm going to get experience. Can I grow as a dentist? That's a very important question for yourself to answer. And that's a good question to think about. Now let's talk about interviewing, okay? So you got the different kind of jobs. There's different ways you can get those jobs. Preparing for the interview. I do it before, during, and after. Wrote a book on interviewing. It's now in 14 languages. I just saw Amazon has the Korean version out. So I get people, every month I get emails and people all over the world who have gone for interviews. So this is what I lived with the last couple of years, the interview research. The first thing I'm going to say to you, do your homework. When you go to a place, do as much intelligence as you can about it. Ask people what it's like, okay? Some of these reps will know what the particular practice is like. If I go to Pennington Dental, I'm sure I can find what Pennington Dental is like before I walk in the door. Paul, can I?
Yeah, for sure. And that's really such valuable information. Also, your interest level looks better when you say things about the practice, like, oh, I noticed on your website, right in here.
That's right.
The book, I noticed on your website something positive about the practice, because that would be very impressive to me. If Divya said, I noticed on your website that you had someone who does sleep apnea here, that would really put you above other people. I think a lot of dentists, I'm sure this will happen until the end of the time, until the end of days when the earth explodes, that an older generation is going to think the younger generation is lazy and doesn't care. So right now you're the younger generation, you'll be thinking that about the next year. So a lot, but some of it's like, I sometimes feel like maybe a young dentist just plops in and is like, let's see what happens at this job interview. Be better if you had shown that you had done a little research, and you had, I noticed that one of the restaurants in this town, it'd be great if you're like, I noticed one of the restaurants in this town is blah, blah. Have you ever been there? Just really show your interest in that job.
That's very impressive. People have to know that you have taken time to find out who they are. They're very flattered by that, okay? I noticed that you have a dental store you just opened. So the Pennington Dental, okay. And that's very easy to find out. I mean, you can do homework, and if you have an interview, all of a sudden comes up suddenly, go on the website. There's so much information out there. You got to walk in knowing what the practice is like. Know your must-haves. I think this is really important. Like some of the things you mentioned about how the values. I think I always say 3 levels. What are your must-haves? The practice must have this, must offer me this. Then you have the nice-to-haves. It'd be nice to have this. And then what are the knockout factors? Knockout factors may be the schedule. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. On Wednesday afternoon. I don't know what I don't want to drive more than an hour. But you have to know what your must-haves. Let's go around. What are the must-haves? When you think about going to your first job, anything they must-have. What's a must-have for you?
Visual X-rays.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Digital scanning. I don't know. Whatever. What do you think? Must-haves. Hygienist. Okay. Yeah. My uncle had a dental practice for many years. It was just him. That was it. It was just the whole practice. No hygienist, no assistants. Okay. No front office. He did everything. Okay. Must have.
Dental assistant.
A dedicated dental, there you are, there's your must-haves, right? So you just, remember, you want to know these when you go for interviews. You're going to find these here questions. What are the must-haves? Any must-haves? What do you think? A must-have for you? And must-have what?
It's hard to think, like, nice to have versus, yeah.
I mean, did someone say this? Because like, this might sound crazy, but it's not crazy. The dental assistant. So like,
Dental assistant. Dental assistant. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, there's a third thing. Anticipate questions. And we're going to practice some of these later on. But I tell my clients I coach for interviews, I want you to anticipate the questions. You know what you're going to get. There's how much money you're going to make, probably what question you're going to get. But I also want you to think about what is the question that you least want to be asked. Oh, I hope they do not ask this question. I want you.
What procedures do you feel like you're the least strong at? Which procedures do you not like to do? Because then you're talking about yourself in a negative light and you're trying to paint everything positive.
Okay, so you have to then think about an answer to that question, right? Okay, what's your weakness? I always said the word chocolate all the time. I was interviewed, okay? But what's your weakness? And what you do with that question is you basically turn it around. See, here's a little tip I'm going to give you. Every strength you have is also a weakness. Okay, so you say, you know, I have this great, one of my weaknesses, I have a great sense of urgency. I like to get in and do things quickly, but I've learned over the years how to work with that. So think about questions. Any questions you would not want to be asked in a dental interview? You hope they don't ask.
I guess I don't like sometimes when they ask, like, when they're talking about, like, you know, where you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years, but like when they're focused on like geography, and they're like, do you think you're going to be in Philly in 10 years? And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years. Like, you know, it's like, who are we to know?
I would like to use the modern day philosopher George Costanza, who said, it's not a lie if you believe it. So it's a really good, this goes back, your TSD comes out, which is just how we're trained. We're always so worried about giving an answer that's not actually right. We just do gobbledygook stuff, right? What do you want to pay? That's not even words, right? It's like, so Jesse, that's very common because these people asking this question, it's not even an appropriate question, but they're crazy themselves. You're talking to an older, crazier version of yourself, right? So it's like, this is why, so just say, at the current time, I really enjoy Philadelphia, to see myself staying here. It's not a lie.
Yeah.
Just, I really enjoy this area, to see myself staying here. I would change them not to ask that question, because how do they know they want to be looking at you in 5 years, right? So I would teach them to be like, don't even ask that question.
Remember, the people who are interviewing you are poor interviewers, okay? They don't like this. They don't like interviewing. They're terrible at it, okay? So,
I think a lot of times, like, people are looking for, like,
someone who will stay,
like a potential buyer, like a long term, and I'm like,
right.
I find the like 3 to 5 year question, but I don't like the 10-year question.
I would say it's something I can think about. I'm not sure I have an answer for you right now, okay? I mean, to be honest with you, it's just not, because those who are streaming here today, if we have some owners, I tell people I also train people to interview. And I tell them, basically, questions like that are very, very throwaway questions. You should be asking much more questions in terms of getting to know that person as a person, how are their competencies. What are you doing in 5 years? I don't know. In 5 years? I would answer that question. I don't know. But I know one thing I want to do. I want to grow in my knowledge and my skills. Okay? So you can talk about those kind of things, but that's not an honest answer. I want to learn more. I want to grow as a dentist, grow as a professional, become more valuable, right, to any practice I'm with, whether it's here or somewhere else. That's what I can do in 5 years. I don't know what position I'm going to have. The other thing here is practice. Take any interview you can get just to practice and to hear yourself answer questions. I'm coaching a fellow now who's been looking for 3 months. And when I first started with Michael coaching him, he didn't interview very well. He just didn't. But what I had him do is I had him take every single interview. Even if he wasn't interested in the job, go for the interview just to hear yourself talk and answer questions. And then what I had him do is after every interview, I had him debrief himself. What could he have done better? Well, now 4 months in, he's got some interviews in New York next week, and he's right on. He's confident he can answer questions. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what he wants to ask, but he didn't start off that way. So practice. Also practice with each other. Have a friend interview you, or have that teacher interview you, okay? Have somebody interview just to practice and hear yourself, what you sound like, okay? Tape yourself, videotape yourself. All those things are just to practice and practice and practice. The other thing is don't stay up all night. I used to say is don't stay up all night tweeting, but get sleep, okay? I mean, make sure you're going to be rested for an interview, and then arrive early. That's my biggest tip. Arrive early. You'll know a lot by that office just by hearing what it sounds like. How are people greeted? What's the front office look like? What's it sound like? Are people arguing? Right? Are they talking to patients, in a gruff way? Mr. Joy, you're next. What do you see? When I go to Pennington Dental, where I go to still get my dental work, hey, Mark, how are you today? Come on in, we're ready for you. Just the way he greets you says a lot. During the interview, okay, with me so far, the biggest tip I'm going to give you is I call it persuading with your ears. What does that mean, persuade with your ears?
Show that you're listening to them and then give them feedback that shows that you...
Exactly right. Yeah. A good salesperson, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to sell. A good salesperson listens and listens and listens and listens. Those things, those active listening things we're going to talk about later on. Tell me more about that. It sounds to me like the more you can get to listen and you begin to hear things. And those questions that, tell me more about that. It sounds to me, really? Because oftentimes, the interview process has been very misunderstood. When I was younger, people would say the object of the interview is to go sell yourself. I hate that term, sell yourself. I don't know what that means. Remember, a good salesperson listens to a customer. So the more you can listen, you're actually persuading with your ears, okay? Then when you've listened enough, then you can respond. Okay, next one, sell your skills, don't worry about experience. Some of the ones I saw on Glassdoor this past week had 2 years experience from a dental associate. I don't have 2 years of experience. How do I apply for that? Sell your experience, okay? Don't worry, sell your skills, not your experience. What can you do well? What do you like to do? What have you done well? And don't worry about minimum 2 years experience. Doesn't apply. Sometimes people put that down just because somebody said, put it down, but they don't really need somebody 2 years of experience. What do you think, Paul?
It's an awesome point, and I just wanted me to enhance it to dentalify it. So sometimes it can't be enjoyable. So I do try really hard to transform dentist's brain from DST to JVN, but sometimes I will allow dentists to sit in their TST spots. So people said to 4.5 millimeters in the peripocket, which is ridiculous. Nobody can see between the little line and the peripocket. Only dentists love that stuff. So this is the time where you can accentuate your experience in a GPR. So probably at this point, get your really good tool for your paper, get your Dentrix printout of all the procedures that you've done, especially at the end of the year, and use it because it's going to impress people. Hey, I had the opportunity to do 14 root canals. I had the opportunity to place 6 implants. It's not really about the number, it's about the specifics, right? So if a speaker says to me, I'm a really good speaker, I want to speak at the dentist team moves. How often do you speak? Oh, I speak a lot, blah, blah. When they say, I spoke at the New York Dental Meeting, I spoke at this study club, it's what I like to call bring to life. You bring yourself to life. Hey, I did 14 implant crowns. That was fun. Some were easy, some were. So get your Dentrix printout, save it, bring it with you so you can reference it.
I call that in the book, have an interview kit that you bring with you. Okay, interview kit is all your, not just your CV, but the things you've done, okay? I mean, you can bring pictures, whatever can describe the things you've done to people, because that also comes to the money. So you say, I'm looking for $500, I don't know what it may be, $100 an hour. And the owner says, can't pay that much. Well, wait a minute, let me tell you what I can do. So you sell your skills. I can do the following things. So that's always what you're selling. So that number may increase based on, remember, that folks who, first of all, people interview you don't read CVs. They're horrible, most interviewers. They don't look at them. You really have to walk them through it. But the interview kit is very important. Bring something with you that describes exactly what you've done. Pictures, if you can. I like that, Paul. Descriptions. Look for buy signals. Okay, a buy signal is when somebody says something like, what do you think a buy signal is? What would somebody say to you in an interview that says, an owner say to you, say, oh, I think she might be interested in hiring. What would she say to you? What do you think? What's a buy signal?
When can you start, or like available start date?
Yeah, when are you available? What's your availability? About, can you start in the next 2 weeks? Yeah, that's a big buy signal. Other buy signals, what do you think people would say to you? They say, oh, I think I'm really connecting here.
If they want to like see you, or like what we were saying, like visiting the practice again or something like.
Yeah, I'd like to have you come back and meet some more of our people, right? I'd like to come back and meet more of our associates. That's a buy signal. So Paul, your owner, buy signal. What would you tell somebody that says you're interested?
I mean, a lot of it is I would ask them to come to observe, right? So I probably wouldn't ask them if I really thought wasn't a good fit,
sure,
for whatever reason. So I wouldn't want to waste their time, so to speak. Interesting, it does not work in reverse. You should still want to observe at places you don't think are good.
Right.
It'll teach you what you want. You still should want to just say, hey, would it be okay if I stop by? This is how this game works, and just like dating, so you're not misleading someone, you're not leading someone on.
Right.
This is how the dating world works of job finding. And interestingly, someone's going to do this and think a place they didn't like, they wind up liking. Not everyone puts their best foot forward face to face. Sometimes people are in bad moods before they do it. Dentists have zero interviewing skills to interview me. They might seem crotchety at the interview, then they're nice in the office. So you ask to observe every time. My advice is going to be offering someone to come back and observe.
Yeah, or another buy signal might be, I'd like you to talk to somebody right now, right? One of our senior people. So, okay. Okay, after the interview, just don't send a thank you note or email. Thank you very much for the interview. I really enjoyed meeting. No, use it as a selling tool. So maybe as you walked out, you're driving home, say, oh, I forgot to mention I do this. I forgot to mention that. So thank you. The follow-up note should be, yeah, fine, I enjoy meeting your staff, but based on our discussions, these are the things I can bring to the practice. Things I forgot to mention. So that note becomes much more of a selling note than just saying thank you very much. Now, this is interesting. More and more, when I work with clients, people are actually writing handwritten notes back as opposed to email. And that's darn impressive. I know a client of mine who just hired a CEO because that particular person sent a handwritten note to everybody on the board of directors. And she was the only person who did it. Now, I'm not saying you have to write a handwritten note, but it's very impressive when you get it because everybody does emails, right? You write a handwritten note to somebody, back to an owner. That's very impressive.
I would share with them to densify this two things. So I use myself as an example. So in the dental world, mail can be important because your front desk team opens it. So I would send an actual handwritten note, but I would not use that as the only note. So when on your paper or your book, the question you must ask to an owner, a crazy owner like me, my brother, you want to get everyone's contact info, right? You want to get their best email and their best number. But then just say to them, hey, what's best to contact you, on your cell or through email? Mm-hmm. Because I'm selling practices right now, deals that are $50,000 deals, and they only want to text about it. Sometimes I don't like that. I like the email, but they want to text. So the mechanism, MOC is a mechanism of communication. If you miss that, you could lose out on a job. I'll share with me, a company asked me to be part of this 20-person thing of all dentists around the country. It's very nice of them. I totally missed the email. The woman actually had to get back to me and be like, did you want to do that? I'm like, do what? It's like, I sent it to you because my email inbox was like a tornado went through it. So that happens to owners too. So you want to do two mechanisms of text, handwritten and a text.
That's right. Email. That's what I'm doing. Some people don't even look. They get 10,000 emails.
Totally
you're lost.
To ask for permission for a test.
Right.
To ask for permission, but they might say, oh, cool, just text me, email me. Text me my cell, that's how I get back to it. So you got to ask that question.
And you also, before you leave the interview, want to find out, I should put that during, what's their time frame for making a decision, okay? And be sure to check in. Checking in is not being a pain. You're showing interest. Just check in with them. Where are we right now in the process, okay? And the last thing, if you do give references, please brief them on where you've been and what you're doing. It's amazing how people put people down with references, don't brief, and the person gets a phone call or an email saying, I just interviewed, so-and-so, Chris, and I don't know that. So brief them, and you want to brief your references on shaping the reference based on the interview you went for. So if they're asking for someone who is, excellent with crowns or whatever it may be, the sockets you're talking about, make sure the reference knows that so that reference can bring it up. So your references have to be educated too to help you, okay? So that's the kind of tips. Any questions before we break about the interview process or job finding, anything that you want to know we haven't touched? What do you think? Any questions?
I agree with you. What do you think? Watch this. Take out your best friend, your phones. Okay, everyone's got some. Put 14 minutes on it, countdown timer. They're going to ask you one question out there about how to make this work better. Then you're going to get some more pizza and come back here in 14 minutes. We're going to have real one-on-one job interviews. I'm going to be the practice owner. You guys are going to be the associates. Mark is going to be your coach. Be fun. Bring in an extra knockoff white ball for you need it.
Okay. Okay.
Also, just Jenny, you can Lindsay Wall. No, you could actually go to that one there, just because you'll just be close to it, like between Marissa. You could sit in that one. Okay. All right, we'll do this as a practice. This is quick practice. I want to see what it looks like. Get me, go this way so you see this in the background. Perfect. And then just say, hey, this is Paul talking about his job interview stuff. Make it like 5 seconds. I'm going to show them how to do it.
Hey everyone, this is Paul talking about job interview.
Job interview, perfect. Now let me just see the video.
Okay.
I just want to see. So, Jenny, you tell me when we're back.
Now we're back.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you guys a tool right now that will help one of you guys. Cool. Job interview, perfect. Now let me just see the video. All right, cool. So, bringing yourself to life, BTL, put it on your thing. What can you do to BTL yourself? Bring yourself to life. So a lot of these things, some of you guys will be looking for jobs in other states. You're going to be, don't start yet, I'll tell you to start. You can start over again, sorry. You'll be looking for jobs in other states. You're going to be competing with other people looking for the jobs. How can you stand out? How can you make someone lean forward and want to interview you? And it's through video, right? It's through presenting a video. You guys all love Instagram stories, videos you see on Facebook. So what can you do for yourself? And this is what you do. So first, you just buy yourself one of these lavalier mics for your phone. It's like $10, an adapter for your iPhone. Now you shoot me, Lindsay. And this is just what you would do. It's going to be, does anyone know the term evergreen? Do you know what evergreen means? It just means something you can use forever. It's not like, hi, I'm here with the Einstein residents on February 21st talking about job interviews. It's just something that I could use over and over and over again. So just get one of your friends to help you. I do videos all the time. They're not easy. My way of doing it is to have Lindsay nod to me when it starts, because otherwise you can't edit it, but the first video is like, is it on? Is it on? Oh, fine. Hi, I'm Rachel, right? So it doesn't look good. So Lindsay just nods and tell me when I can go. Hi, my name is Paul Dr. Nacho Goodman. I went to Penn Dental School and graduated in 2002. After dental school, I did a GPR residency at Albert Einstein where I learned how to place implants, do endo, get faster with restorative procedures. I would love to find a job in the Philadelphia area, and I would love to meet you. My cell phone is 267-896-1942. My email is paul@dentalnachos.com. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Now, so this here, no one else is going to do this unless I've taught you guys to do this. So then this here, text it to me. We'll see how long this was. Hi, my name is Paul Dr. Nacho Goodman. I went to Penn Dental School and graduated in 2002. After dental school, I did a GPR residency at Albert Einstein where I learned how to place implants, do endo, get faster with restorative procedures. I would love to find a job in the Philadelphia area. Love to meet you. My cell phone is 267-896-1942. My email is paul@dentalnachos.com. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. So what did I do there in, how long is this thing, Lindsay? You can text me. Like 20 seconds of time. I gave my name, my email, my experience, where I wanted to be, and how they can contact me. So if you're an Einstein resident and you drink the knockoff White Claws and eat the free chips and have the free pizza and go to a lot of free events, part of your requirement for being that person is for our March session to have one of those for yourself to share. So write down for your March session, you're going to have one of those for yourself. A 20-second bring yourself to life video. Thanks, Lindsay. Perfect.
I sent them to both phones.
Perfect. Thanks.
The elevator speech we used to call.
Yeah, a quick way to bring yourself to life that you can send through text, Facebook, LinkedIn, email. Evergreen is the key. Your name, what you're doing. I mean, evergreen with the small thing of what I said there was the thing that orienting people's brain is important. So usually when I do a video, I'm like, hey, do you ever worry that, I did a good one yesterday about when patients say no to x-rays. Did anyone watch that? So I start with like, do your patients ever say no to x-rays? Yeah, that you lean forward. You're like, yeah, that happens a lot and it's very annoying, right? Then I say, I'm Paul Dr. Nacho Goodman. So in 2 sentences, I said the thing I'm talking about and then who I am. What I said there was I am looking for a job in Philadelphia. So put something in there that would orient their brain. Hey, I'm looking for a job anywhere on the East Coast. I'm looking to work as a dentist in South Carolina because that's who you would be sending it to. So what we're going to do now for our next 40 minutes, so we'll have fun time, is I am going to be the job person interviewing you, and you're going to come up here and be the person who's interviewing. Is this your stuff, Mark, or is this David's?
I think it's mine.
Yeah, we can pass on that, Dave. So, and then look over here. I don't know if you can move the camera, Jennifer, a second, to the Dentisting Nacho interview kit. So you are going to create your own interview kit checklist to bring to interviews. Book with sticker. We put Zach's book here. 2 pens, a water for yourself. These are for speaking. I wouldn't bring, you don't have to like satchel that water you like carry around, you refill. It's a little dramatic, right? For this one time, the environment can be taken out. Just bring yourself a small bottle for yourself, right? You know, not like a can. Some of you guys are carrying canteens with you, right? Is this so? Photos of cases and a PowerPoint of cases would be great to show on an iPad or a phone. Card. Who here has cards for yourself?
Yes.
Anyone? You do, Jesse? Make cards for yourself right now on Vistaprint. Just make evergreen cards. Your name, your email, your phone number, your dentist, so you can send to people. Mark put down there multiple copies of your CV in case you need to leave it.
Mention a card. On that card, you should have on the back of it, or your contact information on the back of it, put down some bullet points about yourself. Okay, because we're talking about. Just put some bullet points.
Ask for the, so we can add there, ask for the card. So who, watch this, there'll be nobody, so I'll just pick, but maybe someone. Who wants to be our first hot seat interview person?
Me.
Thanks, Javier.
Okay.
Chiefs.
Okay.
Here? Yep, right there.
Okay.
So I gave you the book, and actually model this in the right way, Javier. You can, this is Zach's book, so you can write in it, right? So watch this. I'm such a kind-hearted person. Open the book. Okay, keep going. What's it say there?
Why, what, how, best contact, offer to observe.
Right, so right there, show everyone else. There's your checklist. Why, what, how, best contact number, offer to observe. So what that is here, to help you guys, is my associate position a car or a boat? Is it a want or a need? Why does the practice need an associate? What procedures will I be expected to do? And how will I make money? So while I won't say you're a failure, I'll say missed opportunity. You guys get a lot of complimentary access to me about jobs. Some of you have already texted me, emailed me, is this good? You're on some people, that's okay. But I also just have, people don't believe this, but I do have an actual life. So if you say to me, can you give me feedback on this job, Paul? I'll say yes, but if you don't have this, it really is hard to do. I'll say, why do they need an associate, Rachel? How are they going to pay you, Anjali? And what procedure they want you to do, David? If you guys start saying gobbledygook, it means that you didn't ask the right questions on the job interview. You're going to ask the best contact number and offer to observe, all right? So I'm going to be the person for Javier. I have some of your questions here, so. Okay, Javier, thanks for coming to the job interview at Dr. Nacho's House of Dentistry. It's a very unique name for a dental practice. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Personally or professionally?
Whatever you think is best.
Well, I'm 34 years old. I was a non-traditional dental student. I worked for quite a while before I got into dental school. After I got out of dental school, I wanted to get a lot of training to kind of prepare myself for this demanding profession. So I did.
Good idea.
Yeah. So I did a 2-year GPR at Einstein here in Philadelphia. And I'm married and I have a 6-month-old at home.
Good. So I think about this like,
like, what are your first 10 sentences? Mark, you can give us some feedback or anything for you. So this would probably be a classic.
I think you did. Javier did.
I think he did a good job. I think he touched on some different parts of himself that are important, that are like interesting, so that he's not just gonna throw about like, I'm a dentist, like, he's like, I have a 6-month-old at home. But humanized him a little bit.
Yeah, I liked it very much. I think that is one of the hardest questions to answer. Tell me about yourself. And I like the question he asked back. What did he ask back to Dr. Nacho? What did he ask? Yeah. And it's always good to ask that question back because, when I just start off, I've had people say, well, I was born and raised in Paoli. I went to St. Barnabas School. No, they don't want to know all that stuff about you. I played softball as a kid. No, they don't want to know. I've always coached my clients to ask those kind of questions. What would you like to know about me that would be helpful for you to determine if I could be helpful in this practice? Because that person asking this question doesn't want to know your whole life story. They just want to know certain things. So you come in and say, okay, what would you like to know about me? Well, that would help you determine whether I could bring a value to this practice and see what they say back. Okay, but you did well.
So put that in the book for Zach. Is what would you like to know about me? We're going to make Zach's book for him. Write it. No, over here.
Yeah.
What would you like to know about me that would bring value to this practice? So Javier gets one more. So everyone's get one question for me, then one question to ask back.
Yeah.
So good job going first too, Javier. That's not easy. Now, Javier, so we're at a job interview. You need a job yourself. You need to make money. So Javier, I'll give you an opportunity to ask me, the owner of the practice. Like, I think one of the things I can encourage you is, like, part of it is you guys controlling the conversation and getting the information you need from this position. You need this information to make a good decision. You can't count on the owner to share it with you. I will share, even me, I'm different here at Industrious than I am in my office. So if I was actually interviewing at the end of the day in my office, I might have made 1,000 decisions. I might have forgot to say something. So Javier, I'll say, do you have any questions for me about this position?
How does the compensation work?
I don't know. How do people get paid now? It's my first associate.
Generally, it varies from practice to practice. Some people do a guaranteed amount for first few months while the associate gets acclimated to thereafter. It's more based on production.
What would be most comfortable for you?
I would be comfortable with that. I think that's fair.
Guys, so just write down for Zach's book. So when you are uncomfortable with the conversation, which happens a lot, it even happens to me, just rely on that word most. Remember, from talking to my friends, most have said there's a daily guarantee with an opportunity to make more. I'm just sharing with you the guy who has people literally virtually crying in his Facebook inbox from what has happened to them out there. There are people who have not met me. I'm thrilled to have put myself in this position. I don't know how I did it. There are people who have never met me, write me 27 lines of Facebook messages on one message of how their life's falling apart. I feel very flattered that they feel comfortable sending this to this guy who calls himself Dr. Nacho, but I also feel very worried that they're in this position and this is where they feel is what they have to do. So if you don't get this information up front, you could be that. And if you do not ask if there's a daily guarantee, to me, it's a whole fork in the road. When dentists start saying, oh, you kill what you eat what you kill, and if you can treatment plan, you can make money, I do not like that. There's no other position. One other position in the dental office is based on their own production, their own collections. Maybe hygiene for some people, but they still have a daily guarantee. So if you don't have a daily guarantee, you open yourself up to making $50 a day some days. Good job, Javier. Leave the book here for people. All right, good. Who wants to go next? All right, Marissa, good. Which question do you want me to ask, Mark? You can write down from here. I don't know.
Nice handwriting, huh?
Current technology. Drive the current dental technology here.
Perfect. Okay. Marissa, thanks for coming to the interview at Guac Inc. DSO. This is Guac Inc. DSO, and we're looking for an associate. One of the things, we purchase a lot of practices as a DSO of retiring dentists, and they're great dentists, but they're out of touch with technology. So could you share with me what new technology you've learned in your dental school and residency?
Well, obviously, digital x-rays and direct digital, the phosphor plates and with the wire. That's more basic, but in my residency, I had some experience with the Trio scanner, taking final impressions with that. I'm very comfortable taking and interpreting CBCT for both endo and implant placement.
Great.
And that's the things I can think of at the top of my head, but I'm sure that there's more.
If we bought a Trio scanner for the office that you're in, would you be comfortable training everyone how to use it?
I think I could work with everyone and try to get everyone comfortable with it, but it might be in our best interest to have someone come and train all of us.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, good. And any questions? What questions do you have for me about this position?
Why are you looking for an associate?
That's a good question. I would want to know that too, because I'm Paul Goodman. I meant that. No, thanks for asking that. At this location at Guac Inc. DSO, we had an awesome dentist that we bought the practice from, who's retiring. He's finally going to move to Arizona and play golf every day. And watch this. This is when I'm sharing stuff. So this dentist worked at this practice for 30 years. It's a practice he owned. He's spear trained. He went to Coist. He did a lot of full mouth rehabs. He produced in 3 days a week like $75,000 a month. So we're looking for someone to replace this dentist, because it's very key for us to replace this dentist and have somebody who can do that type of work. Is that the type of work you're comfortable doing?
It's the type of procedures that you're hoping this new associate does. A lot of full mouth rehab, hybrid placement.
Full mouth rehabs, cosmetic dentistry, opening people's bite. He really enjoyed these type of cases, and that's how this office was able to survive and thrive, on his ability to do high-level, complex restorative dentistry.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting. That's not exactly what I am looking to do right off the bat, but I hope that you find.
So what I help you guys. So I'll give you an example. So a lot of times, I was doing that for a reason. Oftentimes when people say that, they don't do as much as they think they do. And they really are doing more kale and quinoa dentistry. There's no such, I don't know why people call it bread and butter dentistry. Bread and butter is a treat when you've thrown your diet out the window. I don't know who eats bread and butter every day, a crazy person. But kale and quinoa, I like to call that's our standard
I wasn't
dentistry.
sure what you were, I didn't realize, I thought that was a saying. I didn't realize you literally meant kale and
Instead
quinoa.
of bread and butter, because that's more of it. So what Marissa did was, so they'll take a chief resident from Einstein. So they need to replace this dentist. So I wouldn't give up on it yet. And you did a great job. What I would share is I would love to come and observe this dentist and see what he does. Then you're going to see him dentist to dentist. So a lot of times I'm playing this role. What I was doing there, I was the COO of a DSO who has to hire associates. And that COO just listens to the dentist and says, oh, maybe they are Halbert, maybe they're not Halbert, maybe they are high level. You're not going to know unless you say, so wouldn't be scared away by that?
Yeah, I was going to make a comment. As soon as you heard he's been here 30 years, I would say, go back to the active listing. Tell me more about him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it'll give you time to think on your feet. So if somebody says, well, can you do this? Well, yeah, okay. No, tell me more about him. Okay. How did he work with patients?
Well, I definitely didn't say I could do it, but.
No, but when you find out more about this dentist, you're going to find out, can I come into this practice replacing a 30, I mean.
So watch, I give this service. Before I go, before we end, is there any other questions you have for me?
Am I continuing off of hobbies?
No, pretend it's the end with DSO, but look at your book there.
Well, what is the best way to contact you?
Oh, thanks for asking. It's definitely my cell phone. My inbox is too crazy myself, so perfect.
What's
So
your cell phone?
267-896-1942. So yeah, that's good. Write that down. Brandon, we're going to play the role of regular dental owner, DSO looker. So we're going to do these on March 14th.
One thing I'm going to say, just on this example, a lot of employers in every industry, obviously industries that I've come from as well, the interviewer is trying to be extra tough. So, they're trying to see what you can take and what you can tolerate. So if I'm saying, I'm not going to interview somebody fresh out of school or residency and then try to say, well, I'm trying to replace somebody who's been doing this for 20 years. There's no way you're going to be able to compete right there and replace that. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that he's hitting you with something that outlandish, he's really trying to test you. That's the way I would look at that. And as confident as you were when you were explaining what you did do, which was awesome, don't lose that confidence when he hits you with something that you can't do.
Honestly, if this was not in this setting and I didn't know I was being tested, I probably would have been like, I don't think I'm a good fit for this position, and I don't think I would be happy
But don't
here.
give it up. Don't give up on it yet. So one of the things is, just like first dates, maybe you guys, maybe you guys are with someone who you weren't so keen on your first date, right? So remember, the jobs, you don't know until you go. One of my things is you don't know until you go to the office. That's why you ask for the contact info, then follow up with when would be a good time to observe. All right, great. Nark, tell me the next question. I'll pick people, Rachel.
Behavioral question now in terms of what is the time they work in the clinic. What's the most difficult situation they've encountered in the clinic? How do they handle it?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so a behavioral question.
Okay, so first we did a traditional practice owner who didn't really know if he needs an associate. Then we did COO of a DSO, Guac Inc., Dr. Nacho's House of Dentistry. Now I'm going to be a group practice owner. I'll be more of myself. So this is welcome to Brothers Nacho's Dental House of Dentistry. We have multiple practices. I wanted to ask you at this interview, thanks for coming. When is the time you encountered a difficult patient management situation in your career so far, and how did you handle it?
I'd say something that I see regularly in my residency is when patients have a lot of dental needs and finances are probably the first and only thing on their mind. We present every option that we can, but oftentimes we're limited in what we can do for them. And so, yeah, something that's frustrating for both the patient and me is, when they just can't attain what they truly need, what they can benefit from.
That's good. And I find even me, someone who's been doing this for a long time, dealing with finance is a tough part. What are some training or even some tips, or how have you learned to talk to patients about money?
I'd say first and foremost, you want to help the patient understand why and the benefit of having, a procedure done. It's not so much a financial gain for me, but if you can kind of break it down into why a certain treatment is good for them to keep onto their teeth. I think once they kind of break that threshold of, why it's important for them, it's not so much at that point, aesthetics or investing into things that they don't feel is unnecessary. If they truly understand that it's going to improve their quality of life in many ways, I think that's a good place to start.
Awesome. Now, Mark, any feedback on?
Yeah.
Now, why was Rachel, and Mark fixed it, why was it fairly easy for her to answer that question? And she did it with confidence, because it probably happens a lot. I said, have you dealt with a difficult patient management? So she's like, which 47 times you want me to think of, right? So when I say, how much money do you want to make, people literally never have asked you that question before, right? So I say, tell me about yourself. That's that weird, kind of broad question. So you did a great job. Anyway, but I'm saying it's an easy one to answer, but have these kind of in your notebook, like they might ask me about a difficult patient. Now, one question you could ask back, I'll give as it is, so when that's asked, say, how do you guys deal with financial treatment plans here? This is real gold for you, because if they do not have a system for financial treatment plans, you will get the shortest end of that stick. So if they don't have a good system in place for collecting money and talking about insurance, it doesn't matter if you're the best dentist, it doesn't even matter if you get patients to do it, it's going to be a problem for you. So now we'll give you the chance, Rachel. Any questions you have for me, Brothers Nacho's multiple practice owners, about this position?
Yeah, so you guys currently have 3 practices. In the next few years, do you plan on growing that? And what's your day-to-day clinical involvement?
We have multiple practices, so I wake up every day, I'm annoyed, so I might as well just get more practices, because what level of annoyance are you? Just joking, but that's a good question. I say I'm always looking for good opportunities to expand our network. I really like running dental practices. One of the things I really like to do is help dentist patients, whether they're bad, MADs, or TADs, when that's my term for young dentists, medium age dentists, and child age, and sort of like just out of school type things. So we're looking to expand our network. So that's why growing with us is fun. One of the things I would highlight about my job is that we are somewhat of a mentorship style associate program. So if you really like learning about practice management, patient communication, and being in a supportive environment, that's for us. But you don't always get to do every extraction that you want, and you don't always get to do every root canal that you want, because one of our systems is that we have specialists on board too. So I'm sharing with you guys up front that I don't really have associates doing root canals. So if you love root canals, maybe that's not good for you, and that's okay with me. That's a really great question to ask me as well. How about a question from over my shoulder here?
On a day-to-day basis, what are you looking for this current associate position to do the moment they start?
In general, it's getting really solid with restorative, checking hygiene patients, talking to patients, and working with our network of specialists. As they grow, if there's something you really like to do, like Invisalign, there's someone in our office doing Invisalign, you can kind of pick an area to focus on.
One of the questions I coach people to ask is, to get to what your job really is to say, if I was to start work on Monday here, what would be some of my typical assignments?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Okay. And I'll tell you more about the job than what they're telling me.
Right.
I did say over my shoulder, and I know this is fun, is the most important question is, why do I need the associate? So I did it in red, blue, green. So this is like, it's like, I'm just wondering, why are you guys looking for an associate here? And that's just a totally reasonable question. And that answer is everything. If you could only go to an interview and ask one question and give me one piece of information, I would be like one of those magicians who could put the whole thing together. If you said, I'm looking for an associate because my associate's going to endo, I'm like, I can already tell it's great. I'm looking for an associate because I feel really busy. That's going right to math. If that's the answer that they give for this is my business, right? This is everything I do. If I can't explain why I need a full-time dentist to work with me, it's not gonna be a good position. It's just not. So that's why DSOs often give good answers, because they're replacing people. Somebody leaves, somebody doesn't like it anymore. So that's why a lot of times private practitioners, we have to help coach them. And one of the things I really dream of, whether it's like, the way to get more private practice associateships is for private practice owners in the same area to have one associate work for them, 2 days one place, 2 days another place. And my awesome friends, Derek Conover and Todd Fleischman, are doing that with an Einstein grad. How did they get that Einstein grad? I introduced them to him, and I gave him that idea. And I said, you should take Baljeet. She's awesome. You do 1 or 2 days, you do 3 days. That's how we could transform private practice dentistry. But there's just a small problem. Dentists have a hard time getting along, but that's really a good way to do it. Good job, Rachel. We'll do 1 or 2 minutes. David, you're up because you're going to have to really do this for real.
How would you determine a person in X-ray?
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so David, thanks for coming.
Sure.
We just bought a SADS practice, and he retired, and now we need someone to run the satellite practice for us. So I just want to ask you, how do you determine when a patient needs X-rays? On regular recalls and things like that, what's your guidelines for that?
Well, I really look at, how at risk they are for caries, when was the last time we did radiographs on them, and take it from there.
A lot of the patients here I notice, because this happens later in dentist career, because they're just so annoyed they stop arguing with people, that like some of these patients haven't had X-rays in like 3 or 4 years. How would you handle that conversation with them?
I would try to get to the bottom of what was preventing them from getting X-rays.
That's a great start, because usually it's either fear. One of the things I'll just kind of take time out and share is, this is a classic thing. This is going to happen to a lot of you. Openings happen with retirement, somebody leaving, and the culture of an older dentist is like a personal trainer being like, you can eat chips if you want, David, it's fine. You can have White Claw for breakfast, whatever. I'm not arguing with you anymore. And they're not bad dentists, they're just tired. They're just so tired. And they just tend to kind of become very conservative. And they're also conflict averse. They never got that. And now you come in as a young person who they think is like 15 years old, and now you tell them their last personal trainer didn't really give you good guidelines, and it's a hard conversation to have. That video that I just did on YouTube is a really good start. Nobody would want to pay for X-rays. I wouldn't want to either. But we don't want like a $200 filling to turn into a $2,000 root canal crown. It's really hard, and it's happened to me. The more sentences you say, the less of a chance you have of getting people to do what you want to do, right? So if you have to do so, that's why we have a few good catchphrases like that. David, any questions for me about this position?
What type of technology do you have in your practice?
We're hoping to bring in a digital scanner for impressions. Right now, we're still using traditional PVS. One of the things that you'll realize when you run a business is it's fun to incorporate something new, but then the fun wears off and everyone has to be trained on that new thing. Kind of like, did you ever get like a new cell phone and you didn't know how to use it for a while? And you're like, I just want my old cell phone back. Well, imagine that with like 20 people. So we are looking to do that at a certain point. We just got a CBCT. That's been a good addition. But what David asked is actually a really important thing. You're going to really miss Einstein
for all the things you had at your fingertips that just aren't at your fingertips anymore, and you have to figure out how to deal with that. Like, who uses the isolate at Einstein? Me. Like, I got that for us, and I kindly annoyed the program. But you can introduce, thank you, I know, slow clap for me, it's deserved. I've helped, just one person has helped people not swallow stuff, help you guys work faster on kids, because I kindly annoyed the program director. I'm like, you cannot have these residents working without the isolate. They stink, this will make them just a little less bad, right? And the patient, I mean, whoever's listening, like if you don't get the isolate or some program, if you do not use something like that, Airbud isolate, you just do not have good self-esteem as a dentist, because it makes your life easier. It gets the patient to stop talking, and it prevents them from swallowing stuff. And if someone out there is listening and they think it's too expensive, we're going to find you a special psychiatrist for you, because this is what you do every single day. But what's a great point David brought up, and that's why interviews are back and forth. If a must-have is an isolate, right? Introduce that concept. Say, hey, in my residency program, we use this thing. And then always about the why, right? If Mary wants me to go to the flower show and I don't really want to go, but she tells me they're handing out free margaritas, now I want to go a little bit more, right? So if you want the isolate and they don't have it, say the why is it's going to help me work faster, seem more confident, and do a better job. So really good there. Good question there, Dave.
Absolutely.
I will do maybe two more, so we'll finish at 4:40 mark. Which question do you want me to do? Jesse, you come. Okay, perfect. Okay, Dennis, let's see what I'd be here. So first, I was a regular practice owner, multi-practice owner. Let me go with someone who feels they want an associate without need, okay? So I'm kind of giving you guys, you need to find out all this information, but like this would be good if like this one right here for you. I'll give you a second up. So, hi Jesse, I've been a dentist for like 25 years. I really like a lot of it, but you know, it's hard to run the business. I'd like a little more time for myself. I'd like to ask you, like, what do you like most about dentistry?
I really enjoy establishing long-term patient relationships and kind of getting them to be excited about their treatment and realize the benefit of what we can do for them.
Yeah, that's great. What's something that's like you're not so favorite, or what's one of your least favorite parts about dentistry?
I would say dealing with maybe difficult expectations of patients, or certain procedures that I just don't find as fun as others.
Yeah, that happens to me too as a dentist. What procedures are like those for you?
Molar endo, I would say, is something that I think is better off being seen by a specialist with microscopes and just additional training for the, thinking about the patient first and foremost.
So I'll give you an example of like the thoughts inside my head, like Zach Rapp. So like in this moment, I agree 100% with Jesse. I agree. My view is that endo is extraordinarily difficult, and doing it every now and then is very difficult to get. It's very difficult to get good at that. There's some dentists who think I'm crazy, probably listening, probably yelling at their Zoom right now. I can't believe Paul feels that way. My feelings, they're wrong. I believe that molar endo is really difficult. It's hard to be consistent, and an endodontist really is the best person to be doing it. If a general dentist wants to do molar endo in a practice, my friend did this after Einstein. He worked for a group where he was the general dentist doing all the endo. So he basically practiced to be the endodontist. But if you're going to do a molar endo once every 2 weeks, that's really, really difficult to do, in my opinion. So that would bond us together. But to other people, it wouldn't. But you still should be authentic. Because you don't want to be in the practice and then give you 3 molar endos. Now's your time to say something like that. All right, Jesse, any questions for me about this position?
Yeah, I guess I would ask why now, and what kind of growth are you seeing in your practice that merits needing an associate?
Yeah, really good question. A lot of my friends, they've got associates. They say it's really helpful. I'm thinking maybe you can work like 2 days, maybe 3 days. We're pretty busy. We get to like 25 new patients a month, and we're really busy like an associate. We're super busy. I'd like more time off. What's your next question?
I would ask a more tangible question about the growth. So like what percent growth have you seen in the last year?
That would be awesome, the dentist answer, but this was the answer, and I know it's a hard question. So here's the question. It's great you're really busy. Great you're really busy. I know some dentists who wish they were busy. Now you're making them feel good. It's great you're really busy. I know some dentists wish they were busy. I'm wondering, when is the next time a patient could schedule a crown with me?
ask me that.
So I'm wondering, when is the next time a patient could schedule a crown with you?
Probably like 10 days from now. And then you say, oh, that sounds busy, and then you don't take the job.
Yeah.
You just say, oh, that sounds busy. You still actually have to observe, because one of the things too is finding a job is a lot like dating, but the person you're dating pays for your rent, and that's your job. So this does not fit with real dating because it would feel emotionally wrong, and it would be not how you want someone to think of you. But with dentist dating, it's fine. So you right now might not want to date or have a job with not so busy Paul. But then you go to work for some place and you hate it, and you're like, he's not looking so bad. I'm gonna call him back up again, right? And this has happened with real dating too. It's like, this guy dusted me or girls, like I'm gonna go back to the bench, right? So you're gonna go to your job bench, and that is why you always ask to observe. Because what if you have no job and I do have 2 days a week? And what if I grow up a little bit? I don't know, anybody get back with someone that they broke up with and like you kind of grew up a little bit, I guess we'll be together still. So what I'm saying is, what if you came back to me and you're like, okay, I need $500 a day, 2 days a week. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's what it is now, right? And so what I'm saying is, don't burn any bridges, still keep it. But in this case, if I said this to you who's looking for full time, this is not the job you want. Just that one thing. The fact that I said I'm busy and I can get my next crown in 10 days, I'm not even close to busy enough for an associate with that one story. Right? And percentage growth, doctor basis, they're not going to know it. They're going to know that question.
Yeah.
They're going to know that.
No, that's helpful.
Yeah. All right, awesome. We'll do one more here, Mark. What do you want me to ask you?
Behavioral question. Time that time you made a mistake.
Perfect. Gotcha. Okay. Who is really interviewing for a job here? Oh, Anjali, I didn't ask you. There you go.
Okay.
And then we're going to have one checkout at the end, and we'll be down here in 10 minutes. So you got to be done before 5.
Okay.
Hey, Anjali, this is Dr. Nacho's 4th practice. We bought a new practice. The owner got injured, had to leave right away, so we need someone as soon as possible. But I think we can wait till July 1st for you to finish your residency. One of the things I like to know about is like, where's a time where you made a mistake or something didn't go so well, and how did you fix that?
I would say one time recently would be maybe letting the patient dictate when they can come in, like letting treatment plans go on for longer than they should. So hopefully I can work to gain a little more control of the scheduling.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. Tell me more about that. Like, what was this specific patient trying to do?
They were trying to kind of avoid paying by prolonging the treatment. So putting off their appointments, canceling last minute, putting me in an awkward position.
And that's always frustrating. Here at our office, it's important for us to get like financial treatment buy-in before people schedule 14 appointments. One of the biggest problems for you guys is you're so desperate to do anything that there's this term gaslighting, right? You unintentionally gaslight the owner dentist and the front desk. Like, you side with your patient and you go up to the front desk like, oh, Mrs. Smith really wants these crowns, and people believe you, right? And then Mrs. Smith doesn't show up and people are mad at you because you're the one who now has the 2-hour opening. So it's really important for you to identify people's financial buy-in by asking, getting them to sign treatment plans. Ask them, oh, hey, how are you going to pay for this? Like, we have someone here that does this, or you might have to ask yourself. I'm very comfortable asking about money if I have to. You cannot be afraid of talking about money because everything's about money. It's great when they have someone who comes in and does it, like at my office, but if nobody was there, I would do it. I would just say, hey, Divya, your root canal is $1,500. The way this works here is you could pay all up front, get a courtesy, you can stretch it out over 3 payments, or you can do care credit. What sounds best to you? And now I know in that moment what you say. If you say, oh, okay, I'll do the payment in full courtesy, I know you have buy-in. They say, maybe I can do different payments, you're not so sure. Let me apply for care credit, it's not a bad thing, but it's like, just because it's not your job doesn't mean you have to do it in an office if it affects your job, right? So if they don't have someone who's good at talking about money, guess what? You'll be the person who's now good at talking about money. Anjali, any questions for me about the job?
I guess given the demographic of that practice, what kind of procedures do they most often see?
The best opportunity here is someone who really likes to do a lot of extractions. We have a lot of older patients with broken down teeth. So there's a real opportunity if you like to do extractions and maybe socket preservation to do that. Is that something that you learned to do?
Yeah, that's definitely something we got well trained at my GPR, and I would be comfortable doing that.
So I said that, and that's really good because if there's an adjunctive service that you do, it's a really good opportunity to make money. So whatever that is, if they don't do it, you can do some of it. And next week, Matt and Nice at the New Dance Boost Camp, which you guys can get complimentary access to online, and Javier's going to be there in person. He's going to talk how he grew up. He bought a practice that did $1 million a year and grew to $3 million, mainly through implants. And he's not braggadocious, and he's super humble because he took all the skills that he learned and applied it to practice ownership. What he would tell you when we interviewed him is practice that in your associateship. So you have to stretch your comfort zone. Don't take out a number 2 and 3 on someone who's medically complex, and you're going to have a big problem. But if you can do some of a specialty procedure, it's a huge bonus. But the only way to do some of a specialty procedure is to learn that procedure and keep it up in practice. And I think for you and Einstein, extraction bone grafts is really a great opportunity, especially cases that have restorative breakdown, like a premolar that's broken off. But it's still all about case selection. And if you're not comfortable in the beginning, don't do it. This is a really good tool. The first time you meet a person, if you look at whatever you're going to do and you don't feel it's going to go well, don't do it that first time. Wait until they come for one recall exam. It's not the end of the world to refer out one extraction. Next time, do it after they like you. Because we had our new associate at the office, and she's awesome. The patients were like, why is she taking so long? I'm like, I think she's trying to just do a really good job. But they perceive that as bad. They perceive that taking a long time was negative. It's not fair to us, right? If someone's like, I'm going to rush through your haircut, like, you're not going to rush. You take as long as you want. I'll take more wine, right? You rush. Your kids are at daycare. They can wait outside. Who cares, right? But if your dental procedure takes longer, it stinks, right? People just feel it's going on. So watch this. This is really good. This is going to help someone probably tomorrow. If somebody asks you how long their procedure is going to take, it's a crown. Marissa, you said 90 minutes, right? Well, I'm the patient. I'm annoying Adam. Hey, Marissa, I'm here for my crown. How long is this crown going to take? What are you going to say?
Well, in order for us to decrease the number of times you have to come in, I could do 90 minutes today, and then you only have to come in for less than an hour next time. If you want to get out of here in an hour today, I can't take an impression today. You'll have to come in for another visit, making it 3 visits. So which would you rather do?
Really good question. Put it back on me, the 2 visits, but just watch this. I used you as an example. If they say 90 minutes, to someone who asks, you say 2 hours. Mm-hmm. If you think you do a filling in 60 minutes and they ask how long it is, they're saying, I'm very annoying, I hope it goes sooner. So then you outdo them by saying it's going to take longer. You could be a little bit stretching of the truth. It doesn't matter how much procedure time you have scheduled. They don't look at dentrix and they know. So if someone comes at 10, it's like, how long is this filling going to take? And you think 60 minutes, like 75 minutes. Add 15 minutes if anyone asks. Add 15 minutes if anyone asks. All right, awesome, guys. Are you guys agree? We'll do one checkout and we'll get to go. So what we're going to do is just go around in an easy way and just say one thing that you think you can use as soon as possible to help you, that Mark taught you or I taught you today, one thing that stood out. And then you're going to take a picture and text your RTTs. You're going to hand it if you want a prize. And every good lecture, no matter what, finishes a little early. So it's only 4:41. We have you guys till 5, so it'll be a little early. So, Mark, anything you want to add before I do our checkout here?
No, what we did in these questions is did a combination of technical questions, right? So very factual. We also did something that more people are using and called behavioral questions. So tell me about a time you had a patient. And these are harder questions to answer because you don't know what the person wants to as an answer. But more and more, you're going to be asking behavioral questions. So just ask them honestly as you can. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and you also learned, that's great, ask them behavioral questions like how they handle finances, how they might handle adapting new technology. Say things like, I really like this thing called the Isolite. So we're gonna ask you, Jack, you're gonna pass this around, you're just gonna hold this. If they hold this, it'll come up better, right, Jenna? They hold this. All right, cool. So it's our Crunching Your Job interview with Dr. Nacho and Mark Dorio, author of The Idiot's Guide to the Perfect Job Interview. Your take home here from me, 3 things you get out of every interview. Is my associate position a car or a boat? Is it a need or a want? Why does the practice need an associate? What procedure I'll be asked to do? How will I be paid? So you can just say your name and just one thing and try to make it under 12 words, a bullet point.
So my name is Ryan. I would say something that I learned today is that when asked what's your weakness, is to pick a strength and turn that into a weakness.
Perfect, I like that, thanks Ryan.
My name is Javier, and I learned that typically when you're talking to a dentist, busy equals a feeling, not a number.
Busy is a feeling, not a number, awesome.
Hi, my name is Divya. One thing I learned today is to make sure to talk to sponsors when you go to dental events.
incredibly. Just walk up to them, be normal, ask about them, and even if you're, maybe someone's circling back here in 2 years after their endo program goes fast, so maybe they'll just keep your mind and say, oh, someone does need someone there, so it's really, really a good one. Anjali?
Hi, I'm Anjali. One thing I learned is when you're at an interview, offer to observe, even if you didn't have the best impression, so you can just get a sense of how some practices work.
Yes, there's no downside to that. If anyone tells you it's a waste of time, they have no idea how business development works. The mere fact that you can walk into another dental office for free and watch what happens is incredible business development for you. Whether it's the worst office, whether it's poorly run, and you're going to be surprised by something that happens there, good, bad, or different. Great one. Rachel?
Hi, my name is Rachel. Something I learned today is seeking a perfect job may leave you with none.
Yes, so yeah, there's no such thing as the perfect job, but if you don't want to take one that's so terrible out of desperation, maybe ask your parents if you live on their couch for a month. Because this is something I would like to point out, and it's very non-dentist. It's like July 1st is the deadline you have, but other people don't have that. So just don't take any job so you can say, oh, I'm working on July 1st. The world doesn't work that way. I know it's tough, but there's a lot of dads right now that regretted doing that a year ago. Regretted saying in February, oh, I took a job with my childhood dentist because I'm always going to work with my childhood dentist. And they thought they checked that box, and then they're there. Their childhood dentist didn't need an associate at all.
My name is David. I learned that with interviewing, it's important to bring yourself to life, and you can do that through making a video and letting the owner dentist know kind of what you're about and who you are, and it brings you closer in touch.
Sure, and how to contact you. So Einstein people, and people, I know you said you won't be here next time, but Einstein people, you're going to bring your video and we're going to watch them all. Random, we're going to watch 30 seconds or less. No philosophy of occlusion, emergent profile, Krebs cycle, normal stuff, 30 seconds or less.
Hey, I'm Jessie, and I learned the helpful question, if I were to start on Monday, what would my day look like?
Yeah, that was really a good one, Mark. That's a good one. That really makes a dentist think, and it would make even me and my brother think, and we've hired associates, because we say, oh, I'd actually like that question. They're like, okay, that's the day we have 2 hygienists and this. It really narrows down there. It's a really good one there.
Hi, my name is Chris, and today I learned the importance of asking questions to see whether a practice really needs or wants an associate at the time.
Need or want is the first question that you answer. Maybe some of you have a rich spouse. I always say your life is determined how rich your spouse is, right? You've got a rich spouse. Maybe you only work 2 days a week at a high-end office that they pay you $300 a day to learn. But maybe you have $600,000 in loans and you got to work 6 days a week. So it's about the job being the right fit for you. Perfect.
My name is Marissa, and I learned that it's okay during an interview to ask about their time frame for making a decision.
Yeah.
Give yourself that extra information.
My name's Alexis, and I learned that investing in CEs is worthwhile, and also investing in yourself is worthwhile because you're worth it.
Really important. So, it's like, if you want to lose weight, I mean, you don't want to eat more calories. It's very interesting. Your CE, the investment in seeing yourself as a young dentist. There's so many dentists from Dental Nachos that are mad, just like me, and even me who did a multi-year GPR, the common thread they say is, I wish I went back and did more. It's not only about the C, it's also about bonding with your fellow dentist. There's something that happens, and it's unfortunate. Right now you went from dental school, everybody's in this miserable place with your friends. Right now you guys just talked about your resident dinner, and the real world is lonely. It's even lonely if you're working with another dentist. So CE is the opportunity to see dentists and go and just stretch your comfort zone, stretch your financial aspect until it hurts. We're at the new dentist boost camp next week. We're gonna have Audrey Sue, who's an awesome CAD, who she is one of the few people who just seems to be willing to invest whatever it takes in herself, and she's really gotten a lot out of it. And it's uncomfortable, and she didn't have the money, and she's gonna share with you what she would have done again to do that. So awesome job, guys. You were done early. We can stop the Zoom. Bye, Dental Nachos and Facebook people. Thanks for hanging with us. Hope you're going to happy hour.